Good afternoon, everyone. It is a bright, hopefully sunny day on this Sunday on our Memorial Day weekend, and we've got some more exciting mahjong in the American Richie Mahjong League for you today. Our broadcast director is Scott, and I am joined today by Andrew, and of course, I am on Wii. How are you doing, Andrew?
Hey, how are you, Tucker? Looking forward to some mahjong as always. Nice long weekend for everyone, hopefully.
Yeah, it's a very long weekend for me. Out for summer as a teacher. This is all of the stress of the past 8 months is finally paying off. Oh, and our wait is rewarded here as the game is underway. This is the final game in A2, and we are starting off with Vincent as dealer. And this is a pretty nice hand, can incorporate the Dora Tumon. Has a lot of Kanchan shapes that you'd really like to either fill or turn into Ryanmen, but not having to deal with a bunch of honors at the beginning always makes me feel like this hand can grow pretty quickly.
Yeah, and just looking around the table to the right, you've got a pair of tunes and both a green dragon and a white dragon in hand, none of which has been discarded yet. Lots of so and pairs. So not only could this become like a Honitsu, but could just go call crazy, call those um pones the pins, call the 8 mon. Um, yeah, so that looks like a really strong and potentially expensive hand there.
Yeah, that would be
Oh,
a pretty good hand for a Toy Rush. I probably would have kept the nine mon and the eight peen in lieu of the dragons to because it looks like maybe Chanta might be a little bit easier if you
See.
do decide to start calling.
yeah, and Chanta,
Home.
absolutely, that's another uh like you said, would have been another interesting one that I didn't even see. But there's also look the chance at Ipeco.
Oh yeah, if you're able to keep it closed, that would be beautiful. Minko on the left, also going for a callable hand, is going for a Honitsu. It appears in the peen tiles. Has a pair of the Yakuhai North that is Minko's seat, so that would be a 3 Han Honitsu minimum so far.
And then finally across the table from dealer, uh has made a call on the twos, has a pair of fours and a pair of fives in hand, with the Monzu. But other than that, not a lot going on in the hand. Some awkward shapes, the 3-6 pins, for example, but the 2-4 and 5-7, well, that draw there of the two is going to help, but the 4-5 connected now can the 4 and the 2 share a tile, right? So it's just kind of um it's wide tile acceptance, but
Home.
Ooh, I wonder if Minko tried to call Chi on that 3 peen as it gets palmed by Vincent.
and so and then perhaps it looks like dealer is just going for Tanyao. Right, and Tenpai on town now, as a matter of fact, waiting on the, uh, 4 or 7 so.
And this is a pretty important game for the standings in A2. If you look over on the right, you'll see
See.
Minko has been in first for pretty much the whole run of the what is this? Of the first official season of the AR Melt, that's what it's called. But Loose had a
Home.
really big session, this session in session 4, and climbed up to right within reach of Minko. And Minko actually took a pretty substantial last in the Hanchan right before the one we're broadcasting. So the top has become very close. Nathaniel, who has taken first, I believe, in at least two of the Hanchan so far today that this group has played, has climbed from fifth up into fourth and is in the 100 point range. So now those top four, everyone in the promotion range in A2, is super, super tight. Meanwhile, Kevin and Vincent are trying to keep themselves in the middle and try not to slip down the rankings closer to demotion.
Um, Yeah, absolutely. And so now we're getting to the last few tiles. Looks like the dealer has bailed out of their hand for the most part, maybe trying to let there you go. Just found Tenpai right before the end of this round, so he's gonna get to hang on to that dealership.
Yeah, Minko ended up bailing the Honitsu, and Kevin found Tenpai on the Chi Toy. So a long East 1 round 0, but
Boom.
we get a repeat, prevents it here, and immediately is able to pawn the Hatsu. Has a 6-0, so can incorporate the Dora 5-0. All in all, this looks like a pretty nice hand. You need one more shape, but with as many middle tiles as you have, you really expect to be able to pull one in. Could even pull in one of the other dragons, and then you might start thinking about greeting for Sho Sangen, although another 6-0 coming into hand is going to make that difficult.
Yeah, around the table, looks like everyone else is dealing with some fairly basic shapes just on a cursory glance. You've got to the right a 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 9. So within Monzu, some decent blocks, um, but not any strong shapes that have come together yet. And
Nathaniel across the table, though, has a very good hand for opening for a Tanyao. Has two of the Dora 5 so, has a complete Anko in the Peen, and a complete run in Mon. So that is actually Ishan 10 for Tanyao Dora 2.
And then finally on the right, a nice pickup there of the one mon, uh, giving a couple sets, well, or at least a pair that could turn into a set, and that 6-7 mon. Oh, actually, pitches the one, decides to keep the 2, 3, 4 shape, 6, 7, and the rest of it's got a pair of wests, not their seat wind. Um, but also the 1, 3, so that is just waiting on that 2 so.
Yeah, those are some awkward shapes in Minko's hand. I feel like
Boom.
I would have been a little uncertain of what to do. And of course, Nathaniel, the moment the opportunity arises, calls pawn on the 4 peen. Is not. Oh, is Tenpai now
It's
waiting on
Tenpai.
the so because the Dora is the pair. And
Yeah,
what's
which
nice is you could actually call pawn on the Dora, drop an 8
Eat.
peen, and maintain the same Tenpai.
but we now have a reach, uh, waiting on that 2 so.
Yeah, and I do imagine Nathaniel will push against this. Oh, this is Tenpai for Vincent for Toy Toy.
Wow.
Hatsu Toy
So
Toy.
so waiting on their they're both waiting on the same 2 so, but there's also a 6 so that could, uh, hopefully the dealer's hoping will come out. And
If
I only see that
if
there's only one left somewhere.
Vincent was in a little bit of trouble there. If Vincent had decided to switch to a Kanchan instead of the Shanpon for the Toy Toy, would have dealt into either Minko or Nathaniel. Luckily, sticks
Sumo.
with the higher value hand and is rewarded with the sumo. Not only
Sumo.
is that Toy Toy, that's also Sananko.
Wow. Toy Toy Son Uncle, and then was that Dora 1? Did the
It was sumo.
okay, Sumo. There it was.
So a nice clean dealer Mongon, which
Wow.
is going to give Vincent a very good early lead. And this is exactly what Vincent needs. Is a little too close to the motion zone for comfort. If you can get more towards the minus teens instead of minus 40, you'll take it. On this hand is starting with a pretty decent hand. It You can see a whiff of a not Mon Honitsu, Itsu, especially with that 4 mon draw. All you need is a 3 mon and an 8 mon. Might even consider opening for that. And then you have the Ryankon in Sozu. So this is a very nice 2 away for Vincent here.
Yeah, absolutely. I think across the table is probably where you see um, the strongest uh, other hand. Also, now with that draw of a one mon potential Itsu there, just waiting on a 2 and an 8 mon. They could also have an Itsu in the same exact suit, pair of fours already ready, and then a 1-3-7 in Sozu, now 1-3, which is uh could accept Dora. So very close across the table as well to maybe approaching Tenpai.
And talking about all the Itsus at the table, Minko has just abandoned his Itsu. Could have had a potential Itsu in the Peen suit, but
Chi.
has very nice shapes outside of Pinzu and does not want to waste the Dora that he has drawn. As a matter of fact, rejects Tempai, could have discarded the Dora Tuso and been waiting.
Chi.
Oh, I guess that wouldn't have quite been Tempai. Has still would have had a shape problem, but is now Tempai waiting on the 2 peen and 5 peen
Wrong.
for Tanya Dora 1 and gets it immediately.
And the dealership will pass. But still
Oh,
very
there was no
strong,
Dora. The Dora got thrown away. I'm sorry.
but still a very strong opening. And we're now in East 2 with a
And
with a pretty strong opening dealer hand.
oh, for sure. Has you have the Dora 6-0, you have a slew of Sozu in general. This is another hand that could become Itsu. That 9-so draw is very nice, and if you just keep drawing So tiles, you could even see this becoming a Chinitsu. You could consider a full flush. There's still 3-1-so out, so if we wanted to, we could dream about Churin, although I doubt this will be the hand where we see ARML's first Churin.
We can hope, right? Always dream big. Um, and to the right, some interesting looks like the pocket of uh actually doesn't call it, but has a pair of white dragons in hand, has a pair of wests, has a complete set of 2 mon and a pair of 3 mon. So could be going for Sononko, or, let it evolve into something like Chitoitsu.
I do wonder if San Anko, the potential for San Anko is the reason Nathaniel did not call the Haku there. Skipped it. That would have been Tempai. You would have had a nice Shanpon weight on the Wests and the 3-mon, but elects to let that pass. It'll be interesting to see if Nathaniel takes a pawn if another one comes out.
Yeah, what are there any other reasons you can think of that they may have passed on the dragon?
Well, their hand would be Haku
Oh,
only.
and there's another pair.
Yeah, so now if you draw the 3-so, you'll be Ishanten for Suanko even. So perhaps might get rewarded here for letting the first Haku pass.
There could
On the
also
left though, Vincent's got quite a hand.
yeah, that's looks like Sanshoku potentially, and a waiting on a 4 or a 5 or sorry, a 3 or a 6 or a 5 to complete that missing shape. So very strong, and we have someone at the table that just reached Tempai from across the table,
The
waiting
only
on
hand we haven't talked about yet.
right. Haven't gotten there yet, but now Tenpai waiting on the well,
Well,
just stepped
not
away from
anymore.
Tenpai. Stepped away from Tenpai, uh, perhaps going for
Yeah, well, it was just unfortunate. The 1 peen are already dead, and one of the 8-mon are out as well. So there was actually a hell weight on the 8-mon. Minko would really like a better weight, and so that's why we are waiting
Ichi.
on the 2 peen now.
down
That at least has one extra tile. We have a
dealer
Ricci
reach,
from the dealer.
looking reading that hand, waiting on a 4 or a 7. So, I believe,
For Ricci Dora 2.
yeah, Richidora too, which uh Yeah, with and they opened with that Dora too, which is so they've had that Dora and it's kind of paying off. Oh, draws another white dragon, getting
Yeah,
pitching the west,
yeah,
which is
isn't going to be too pushy against this dealer Ricci though.
no, no.
Phew.
But
But it would have been an interesting one to think about pushing
phew,
though, because the the Forso, there's a Kabe on the Forso
okay.
that they could see,
Yeah,
but now
just perhaps.
has put themselves in an awkward position to maybe have to discard that Forso if they want to keep Tempai. Has shifted the deal, the
Oh,
the final tile away from dealer and towards Vincent.
let's see how. So one last draw here.
Oh, that's Tempai. If Vincent is willing to discard the 8 so, oh, and is
Not
not.
just yeah. So dealers only one able to maintain Tempai and gets nice little Tempai payments from everyone.
Yeah, you would have really liked to win that hand with the 2 Dora, and you had a nice little bit of foo from the 9 so. It would have been at least 40 foo there, but as it is, we'll have to try and win that Ricci stick back on this hand. The Haku is the Dora, which is fascinating because both Kevin and Nathaniel discarded Dora immediately. I feel like that is something we have not seen much of in the ARML at all. People have been really hoarding onto those Dora Yakuhai, but we can see why Kevin decided to do that. Kevin's hand looks very, very nice. Completed shape in Sozu, nice shape in Peen, a pair as well in the So, and your Monzu has a lot of space to grow. Basically, any Monzu will improve your hand in some way at this point. So, really expecting a fast, reachy hand for Kevin.
Yeah, absolutely. And across the table, completed set of easts and some decent shapes elsewhere, and it's going to go ahead and call because they can. That is now uh well, none of these others. What's going to be the sticking point is the pair.
Well,
Um,
they have a pair of 3 Mon.
oh,
Are you
you're right.
familiar
They
with
did.
Nico?
I read. Yep. Sorry, I read that as a two.
Yeah, it's
But
kind of
yes,
blurry across the table.
right. But that's has the pair of threes, so I'm just waiting on a 7, in Monzu or a 1 and 4, uh, or now a 3, so Nishan 10 across the table.
And Vincent on the left has already called his sea twin, has got to the north, could actually chi this into Tempai, and does.
Mm,
Discards the 5 p, now has a very nice 7 peen, 8 peen weight, a Kanki weight, as you might call it. It is a Kanchan and a Tonki. So,
and
Kanki weight for Vincent, waiting on the north.
and across the table, they're Tempai now too, and going to deal in immediately.
Yeah, but that is seat wind only, Yakuhai only, so only 1,300 points, not too big of a hit.
So now trucking along to East 3, where opening with a couple of Easts in hand, so that's nice for dealer.
Yeah, and the shapes in Monzu and Sozu are pretty nice as well. You would really like to hook up a 6 to that 5 peen, maybe go for Sanshoku as well, but you're going to try and go for max efficiency, having the double tone already called. And then on the right, we have a very nice Monzu shape there as well. You have the 3 6s connected to the 5, so if you need that to end up becoming your pair, it could. The 7
Next
9
to this,
can be its own shape as well, but
yep. Could also um, probably won't with the 9 pins in hand, but I mean that 6 also connects to the 7, and so if draws went the right way, um, you could shift that hand to Tanyao, but keeping the 1, obviously don't think that's going to happen.
Heaven on the left just got a little punished. Had drawn the Tumon, but really wanted to keep the Formon as pair, so just tossed the Tumon right back into the pond. But just 2 turns after, or on the next turn, I should say, draws the Forso and would have had a confirmed 2/3 Force on Shoku had he held on to that Tumon. So a little bit loss of value there, but still Ishanten for a Pinfu hand.
Gee.
The table across is looking really good. Has Dora a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7, 8, 8, 9. So could have an Itsu or could just keep those eights as the pair and pitch the nine. Either way is going to have Dora in hand. Um, so that hand is uh Ishan 10.
Yeah, and
And
Tempai now for the dealer Nathaniel waiting on the 4 Mon and the 7 Mon. That is just double East, but I mean, you'll take it. This would actually be Tempai for Vincent as well, should
Gee.
Vincent choose to call it. And does.
does. So now waiting on
Just the
uh
8.
the 8. And now with that shape, um they'd be able to keep their Itsu.
Yes, although it is not an ideal weight. You really want you're probably hoping to draw maybe a honor
Gee.
tile that's been once cut. That would be a slightly better pair to win. Might switch the tune here. Oh, but doesn't. The tune has been twice cut, so that would be a hell weight.
So and then everyone else at the table uh
Ooh.
I
Do you
believe this
do you
is
deal this? Do you deal this
Oh.
Formon? Yes. So that's
and
gonna
they
deal into
do
Nathaniel. Nathaniel's going to get the double tone.
2,900 points, gets to keep dealership. So lots of dealer repeats so far.
Yeah, whether it be from Timpai at exhaustive or kind of scraping by with these. Well, I guess Vincent's hand was not a scrape. That was a pretty big one, but we've had a lot of little hands so far. We'll see if Nathaniel's able to make something out of this one. Can connect the Dora 3-so to the 4-so, but other than that, has a complete shape in Mon, but this hand has a long way to go before it's really able to fight. That 9 Mon draw does help.
And then to the right, pair of Souths, which is their seat wind, also hanging on to the other honors, which makes me think they might be yapping with that drop of the Mon. Looks like they're going for Huinitsu, but hanging on to the pair of nines for now.
Home.
Yeah, could also become Chanta if you had some really particular draws, but probably is just thinking about Honitsu.
Absolutely.
And
And
then
then go ahead.
yeah, Vincent across the table has pawned the 7 Mon, is now Ishanten, or well, actually no, is Tushanten. Has too many pairs at the moment. Now will be Ishanten. Has to choose what to drop. Chooses to drop the pair of Tumon. So will be Ishanten for
Uh,
Tanyao
um,
Dora 1 as the hand currently lays.
and then finally, looking on our left, a hand that has a completed shape in Sozu, a completed shape in um, pins, and a couple other shapes that and now has a pair uh, of sevens. So th- wait, this hand is pretty close. That 1, 2 shape of Mon isn't great, but just waiting on that 3, but the other shapes like the 6, 7 just needs that 5 or 8 to truck along to
Yeah,
beat each content.
that Pinzu shape is incredibly wide. Oh, but there's Tempai for Vincent across the table, just waiting on the Dora 3-so now.
And having made, we're now getting towards the end of the second row. It'll be interesting. I don't know if anyone of their own volition will discard Dora. Um, but what I mean, dealer won't have a reason to, right? Dealer has a tile that will connect with it. There's two in hand on the right, probably not going anywhere. And in fact, the one on the left isn't going to go anywhere either. So, um, one left somewhere.
Yeah, you'd really like to pull in a five
Home.
so if you're Vincent. That way, even if you don't get Dora, you're still able to win on the six. But Nathaniel, calling for K10 here, calls the nine peen, doesn't have a Yaku, but wants to make sure that he
Home.
can hold on to his dealership. Although, right as I said it, Vincent pulled in the five so and can now win on both the three so and the six so. So it's going to be a little bit easier for him to find a win now. Oh, that three
Ooh,
so doesn't fit into Kevin's hand, but is tossing the two mon first.
yeah. So going to dodge for now. And that 3 is a nice pickup. Well, it doesn't actually really advance the shape, but gives, maybe the 6 was a little safer than the 3, for example.
Yeah, safe against dealer at least. You see the six peen in the dealer's discards. All
And
right, Kevin hasn't been forced to make a decision on the Dora yet.
now, also odd that I'm a little surprised South hasn't seen their
Oh
Win.
no!
reaches on the Dora and immediately deals in.
So Vincent picks up 2,300 points there, and we move on to Minko's dealership.
I wonder where those South tiles were in that last game, though. Never finished. Oh, look at this, though. Wow.
Oh, starting off with an Anko of Haku. That's incredible.
Nice. And enough, unfortunately, and with the draw of the 9, uh, I guess a little awkward. That 4 in a perfect world connects to Dora in some way, right?
Yeah, you could. I guess in if you were in like a doubly perfect world, it would connect to Dora, and then you'd end up with a 4, 5, 6 Sanshoku. But that's kind of a stretch.
But a world I'm sure the dealer would love to live in.
Uh, Nathaniel on the left just passed up a chi on the six, so it was dealt a pretty clear Sozu Honitsu, but did not want to open the hand so early. There's not a lot of confirmed value yet without a Yakuhai, and two Han Honitsus aren't always people's favorite to open on. We do see the Dora 6 peen coming into Minko's hand, though.
Across the table, potential Itsu, um, in the Monzu, or at least some strong shapes. I mean, completed 8s and a pair of 6s, 3-5, 1-3-5, which of course is a strong,
Eats.
complex shape. But dealer very fast
Chi.
is gonna reach. Now just waiting on the 6 or 9 so, and wouldn't you know, found the world where he found Dora.
It wasn't the doubly perfect world with the Sanshoku, but I'm sure Minko is perfectly happy with this. Haku Dora 1 Ricci is perfectly fine, although the 6-0 9-0, not the best Rionman. 3 of the 9-0 already discarded by
Home.
Vincent, and 1 6-0 already discarded by Kevin. So there are 2 more tiles on the wall, 1 6 and 1 9, and then the 2 6s that Nathaniel is holding on to. But Nathaniel is going to hold on to those for quite a while, them being a part of his Honitsu.
Yeah, so not honestly not sure. They just picked up the 6 across the table, and I don't know if they're going to let it go. It doesn't connect to anything, but this also isn't a hand that's worth fighting for.
Yeah, the best you could hope for with Kevin's hand across the table is maybe Tanyal Dora 1. And with dealer calling Ricci and you not being able to see any of the Dora, I mean, you might be even more scared of Vincent's hand on the right here because that looks like a Pin Honitsu,
Dong.
and that is the Dora suit.
The
Oh,
6
Nathaniel's
comes
the deal
out.
in.
Wow. There it is. 8,700 points for dealer, putting them back over 30,000. So we now have two players over the
Home.
30,000 mark. Another player um, teetering close, and North is hurting a little bit.
Yeah, that's a really painful deal in for Nathaniel, but a very important win for Mean Co in East 4 here. And going into the first repeat, Mean Co, another great hand, has the good Nobeton 2-3-4-5 peen shape in Pinzu, and then a Nakabukure 4-5-5-6. Oh, and draws into the Nakabukure, so
Wow.
now has
Home.
4-4-5-5-6 in Manzu. Beautiful, beautiful shapes. I mean, this could become as much as Tanyao, Pinfu, Sanshoku, Ricci, all of the things you want.
Which, yeah, and it's fast. I mean, uh, what and already, so is this the second bonus here for dealer?
This is the first bonus.
First bonus. So again, we're just keeping up the trend with dealers running with it a little bit. Across the table, we have two calls, call of tunes, and
Home.
uh, call of a third call now, going to be waiting for that 6-so to come out and then make a decision on uh which Tonki weight they want to go for on the 1 or the 2. You could
Might
also just win right now, right? Just waiting on the 3.
Yeah, that three mon.
Oh,
That was
oh,
lucky for Nathaniel. That three mon was likely to come out of his hand any second, but Kevin gets the toy and wants to take that. That makes that a three Han hand, Yakuhai toy. So you take that two Han increase.
yeah, which would be a little more expensive as well than just what would have been uh
Oh, look
Yakuhai.
this hand for Minko. Minko drew into the Sozu shape, so had a hard decision to make. The East is Dora and has not been cut by anyone yet. We see one in Minko's hand and one in Vincent's hand on the right. Oh, there's a 6. Do you keep it?
They
It's keeping it for
do,
now.
but it could easily go out.
But it's according to what ends up looking like the better Sanshoku possibility. If you draw a 6-mon, then you probably call Ricci, or I guess you don't have to call Ricci. You could
Gee.
stay Dama.
No.
Oh
And
no!
it goes out and deals in. Wow. So Yaku High, Toy, and there was something else. Or no, Toy, Yaku High.
Yep, and that flips Kevin and Minko's position. So now Kevin above 30K, Minko below. Kevin in second, Minko in third, and now we are entering first place Vincent's dealership.
South
In
one.
Yeah, so things are getting tight here. This is a very pivotal game for the standings in A2. So I
The
imagine the tension is just ramping up now. Vincent's
This is
hand
the
is
final game.
okay.
Their
Yeah.
final game together.
Right. We do still have two more sessions in A2, so there will be more mahjong, but things
Right.
are
But
coming to the home stretch.
so, and then
Oh,
to the
who's
right.
ten,
Oh,
who's Tenpai? Oh yeah, you're right. On the right.
on the right. Yep. On the right, Tenpai. A very nice Chitoitsu. Tenpai. And
That is waiting on that 3-mon. I wonder if Kevin will call Ricci should a better weight appear. The one peen didn't look too bad, but is gonna wait around a while longer. Vincent to fight
Home.
this can accept the Dora Tuso into that nice complex Sozu shape. Oh, and just filled in a Kanchan. So Vincent now Ishanten as dealer, although at the moment this would just be a Ricci only hand. Meanwhile, across the table, Nathaniel grabbed a pawn of Dora.
of the Doro, which makes that nice and expensive, but they're gonna have to figure out what to do with the hand, perhaps getting rid of the
Home.
Norse, and then yep, gonna get rid of that 9. So hopefully a Tanyao will complete. Uh but some awkward shapes at that. A little far
Gee.
from still needs a little work before they can complete that Tanyao.
We have everybody besides Nathaniel is Timpai now though. So it is a 4-peen wait for Vincent. Oh, do you slide? Play the 8-mon. Yes, very good from Vincent. Avoids dealing in to Minko's 5-mon wait. That is Tanyao only for Minko on the left. And so we have Chi Choi on the right, Tanyao on the left, and
Look how the
Minko
hand look
for Vincent.
look how the hand has quickly evolved across the table though, has
Oh,
drawn into a couple pairs, and so now potential toy toy.
yes, and if Nathaniel is able to get the 7-mon or the there it is!
And there it is.
Oh, you
Wow.
gotta play the 2-peen though, and
Wow.
does.
Wow. So that
Tanyao,
hand
Toy
just
Toy, Dora 3, that's a Hanuman.
that hand shifted so quickly just in the span of while we were talking. Um,
Oh, that 3-mon's gonna
oh
do it though!
no. You have to push the hand
No.
though. Ah, unfortunate. That would have been such a nice hand to win. Oh,
That was absolutely tragic for Nathaniel. You
oh,
as you said, was all 3 players were Tempai, and Nathaniel's hand was still a mess, but was able to just pull it together and kind of valiantly get a Tanyao Toy Toy Hanuman out of it, but unfortunately draws the single Tonki weight that the Chi Toy had been waiting on the entire game.
and so now we've got a dealer with some very strong shapes here in South 2. Completed shape in Mon, completed um at completed shape, at least one completed shape in Pinzu 987, but with that 6 and 4, now you've got a pair, and then you draw that 5, and now you have your Ishan 10.
If you draw the 5, yeah, you're Ishanten now. If you draw the
There
5,
you
then
go.
you get Pinfu.
Right. And
On the
so
left, Vincent has already called the 8-peen. We have a pretty wide Ishanten for Vincent.
on the right, some again a hand with some strong shapes. Completed 2, 3, 4. Then you've got 6, 7, pair of eights. You got a pair of fives and pins, a pair of twos and so, and a pair of eights and so. So Tanyao, uh, certainly at the very least, but this hand can just evolve in a lot of different ways with 4 pairs. Well,
Yeah.
now a pair's been broken up.
Yeah, and that 4-peen
Gee.
does help
Yeah,
because
for
you are
sure.
now taking a more efficient Ishanten for the Tanyao. Vincent, though, has entered Tenpai on the left, calling Chi on the 5-so, is waiting on the 4-mon or 7-mon.
And across the table, uh, good draw of the 5. It's kind of a lateral draw, maybe a safer draw, is Ishan, is 10?
Is Ishanten.
Ishan 10, is Ishan 10. Uh, not a great, weight to be waiting on though with that so.
Yeah, and those 7-mon could be dangerous according to how you get into Tenpai. Oh, that helps. Drawing the 3-so is perfect. Now you're waiting on the 8-mon. It is a hell weight,
Oh, and the
but
7th.
Kevin deals in first.
Ooh, and that's just gonna be Tanyao.
So there's been lots of fighting at this table.
And yeah, so we've got um so now dealer, it's gonna be the last dealer, um or eats the blah, 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 blah. It's
The
going to
last
be
dealership
Nathaniel's
for
last
Nathaniel.
chance. Yeah, got tongue tied. Nathaniel's last chance at dealer here, last chance to really make up some ground, but
Yeah, and
in a strong hand to do so.
yeah, could open this for a Honitsu. It is the Dora suit, so that might scare the other players a little bit if that were to come to fruition.
Has one Dora in hand. But to the right, that 5, 6, 7 shape's completed, but can also accept Dora.
Well, and
And
then if we're talking about speed of hands, if you want to race Nathaniel Solnitsu here, Kevin might be able to do it. Has a bad pinch on in the Monzu, but does have a pair of his seat wind, and Kevin is incentivized to win a quick, cheap hand here. You really don't want to dealer to go on a rampage and bring you below 30k.
right. So
Is
and
considering calling Chi and does, so is going to be could discard the Norths and go for Tanyao, but more likely is going to be Altazuke here waiting on the North. Although we do see two of them in Nathaniel's hand, so the Mochi Mochi is going
look
to
at that draw.
fight Kevin. Oh god, that's
Oh.
incredible. This could be Honitsu Chanta Chun.
Wow. One red dragon, one tune already out, so one more living somewhere. So and that I mean, and that's gonna if that red dragon comes out, that's gonna help them a lot. It's gonna help Nathaniel a lot because otherwise, those Norths are just gonna be fighting each other, and they're gonna be in an unfortunate
Yeet.
gridlock and sync with each other.
Yeah, Nathaniel taking the pawn of the two pin to get a nice little Ishanten here, but right after that, Minko calling Ricci on the 9 so is waiting for 3 mon and 6 mon. That is Ricci Pinfu.
And the 3 doesn't come out. Gonna pitch the
Well,
4.
Kevin might be bailing here, and if Kevin bails, that
Hum.
might help
Oh,
Nathaniel, and
there it
it
is.
does.
Wow. So
We have
now
Tenpai, 2
Tenpai.
pin, 5 pin.
Sumo.
Oh,
And
and
there
he
it is!
sumos it.
Nathaniel gets it!
Wow. So yeah, wow. That
And
was not an epots, but that's
it
okay.
kind of felt like an EPOTS, even though the
Right.
hand was open. And
Right.
and and that was a massive win. 2,000 all. That's an 8,000 point gain on Minko. So Nathaniel only 500 points back from third place now. And Vincent also pretty happy with that sumo as it brought Kevin to 29.9, is right below 30k. So don't be surprised if Vincent tries to make this a fast hand, and he does. He immediately takes that Kanchan. Well, not immediately. He thought about it for a second, but took the Chi on the 6 mon and is going to be trying to push this all simples hand to just get out of here.
Epot's potential from dealer, maybe, right? Needs a couple tiles for that. Not
You
a lot of
mean
great
Itsu?
Itsu, what did I say?
You said Epots. I was like,
Uh,
whoa.
right. It's still stuck in my head. Itsu, yes. I'm glad you can translate for me. But throws that away with the 9, opting for a better weight with the 135 pen, and was rewarded, draws another 6 to complete yet another shape.
And we see on the right another Pinzu Honitsu. This one could even become San Anko if Minko is able to draw the necessary tile. But Kevin getting to Tenpai first is waiting on the 5 pin and 8 pin, and we see those are almost all in Minko's hand. There are 3. We see all the 8 pin, 3 in Minko's hand, 1 in Vincent's, and we see 3 5 pin. 2 in Minko's hand, 1 in Nathaniel's. So there's only 1 tile left in the wall of Kevin's weight, even though this is a relatively early Ricci.
Yeah, so with an early reach, of course, there's a better chance of them drawing it themselves, but um, I'm sure from their perspective, it looks stronger than what we know it to be.
If Minko draws a 4 pin, we probably see the 5 pin come out. Maybe not, but a 4 pin would get Minko to a Tenpai that would necessitate the discarding of the 5 pin. So that would be a dangerous draw for Minko. And we don't see any 4 pin anywhere, so Kevin might actually have more of a chance with that. We do see, is this. No, that was not 5 pairs. I was misreading the Monzu. I thought maybe we had Ishanten for Chitoy for dealer, but Nathaniel's still trying to get around this Ricci, try
Oh,
to keep
draws
this
the,
dealership. Oh,
draws the 4 pin. What's gonna? Okay,
waiting on the 6 pin.
waiting on the 6 pin. That West is gonna be their pair.
Well, yeah, and then the 4 peen comes out of Vincent's hand. That was a very good dodge by both Minko and Vincent, who are now both Tenpai.
Yeah, it's everyone's been pretty defensive this game. Uh but yeah, also, again, these dealer runs. Oh, what do you
A
do?
rough a rough draw for Nathaniel. The 9 mon probably comes out first. Okay, it's discarding the 5 mon. Nathaniel is just playing defense.
Right.
That's good because that 5 peen probably would have ended up dealing in. Oh no, but has another shot and doesn't. This is okay. Nathaniel dodging things. Whew.
And across the table, uh I'm sure I don't think they're fighting too hard, but they haven't had to make any tough decisions yet, if I'm reading this
Oh,
right.
I mean that 9 peen was pretty brave with the Honitsu on the right, but it turns out Nathaniel, the only person who is not able to find Tenpai, and had to just dodge all of those valuable hands around the table, and that's going to be a pretty huge hit for Nathaniel after the big win. So
Mm.
Minko now will want to take advantage of this dealer turn and get above 30k. Has a decent hand to do that with. A couple of awkward terminal shapes, the 8-9 Pinchon in So, and a weird floating 7 in Monzu, but there's also a lot of room to work in this hand. Doesn't have to get rid of a bunch of honor tiles before starting in on efficiency, and that was a good draw of the 6 peen as well. So
Across
Minko has a good hand for it.
Yeah, across the table, it almost anyone or anyone would put them over 30,000, but with the right hand could even take second. It wouldn't take a lot and has a strong hand at that chance, um, with two completed shapes in a pair and so, and as well as uh, a 7-8 shape in Pinzu that can accept Dora, and the 4-6-7. That four, I imagine, will come out at some point, but we're now across the table. That's looking like a fast hand, and a hand that, if they won, could certainly put them to second.
Yeah, well, Kevin is already in second, and a Hanuman
Or
Sumo would
sorry,
actually
over
put
30.
Kevin
Over
first.
30. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. But a Honey Monsuno
yeah. With
would.
with the Ricci stick and the two Hamba in the middle, the Hanuman Sumo is what Kevin needs for first. Although I imagine he's not going to overgreed. Is going to take any win, as you said, to get over 30k. Nathaniel and Vincent are both getting pretty close though. Oh, but we have the Tempai and he's staying Dama. Ooh, that's a dangerous Dama from Vincent. As we said, only needs 100 points, so you don't have to greed.
Have we pointed out the Itsu going on in dealer's hand yet?
We have not. It only needs a 6 mon. Is Ishanten for that Itsu? Although
Right.
if you draw the 3 mon, I imagine you insta Ricci.
Yeah, absolutely. But um
Oh, but that's gonna be a sumo for Kevin.
sumos, so winning with the sumo, just getting the hand that they need to get out of there, putting them back at 30,000. Uh and here we are into the fourth game with a plus 30 in first, plus 8-5 in second. So not a huge boost, but is positive. And Nathaniel taking the biggest hit, with the penalty for fourth place actually being more expensive than what they were negative.
Yeah, these are that those were a couple of painful for Minko and Nathaniel. That was incredibly painful. That's Minko is now going to drop out of first for the first time in basically the entire first season here.
Mm.
Minko will drop all the way to four, or yes, will drop all the way to third with that 12-point hit. And Nathaniel is going to be right. I can't quite read the numbers, they're pretty small. Nathaniel's going to be right on the edge of the promotion range now.
So here we are. Now, I know we were having some technical issues. Are these standings still going to be a game behind, or will these be the most up to date standings?
They should update in a second. It's been a little unclear how long it is taking. I'm gonna check the
There's
standings right now.
it's
Oh,
just been updated.
perfect. So Nathaniel indeed dropping is point 0.9 out of the promotion zone after
Ooh.
that hit. So a very swingy set of games for Nathaniel. Had two firsts and a last in that set of four. And Ming Ko maybe taking the biggest hits there, dropping from the steady first that he's had into third. So Ming Ko now is going to have to be very careful in these last two sessions to hang on the promotion slot.
Mm.
Vincent and Kevin did exactly what they needed to do. Stayed in the middle. They didn't progress themselves towards promotion, but they kept themselves from falling further towards the demotion. That last game was huge for them.
Absolutely, but it was a lot like you said before. That was a very swingy game. Lots of points were exchanged, lots of dealer runs, but at the same time, some really strong defensive plays. A lot of people, um, or everyone at the table, really, I would say, was able to avoid some pricey deal ins.
Yeah, and I mean, and we see all four of these players are in the top half of A2, and that was definitely, as you say, a lot of good defensive play. That was exemplified in the Hanchan that we just watched. It was some very, very nice technical mahjong.
Mhm. And so now I think we're going to be ready to jump on over to our B2A, right?
Yes, our next match, we are going to be watching the top of B2A. We are going to see Ada, Austin, and A
Joshua
Joshua, and there's one
Felipe.
more.
Felipe.
Felipe, there we go.
So yeah, Austin's with Pacific Mahjong, Ada, who this will be our first time getting to see her stream, which is exciting. The leader of her pool from Seattle Ricci,
Yeah,
Josh,
and
go ahead.
look at the difference in win rate and dealing rate for Ada. A 28.3% win rate and is that a 9.7% deal in? Is that a 20-point gap basically?
Wow. Yeah, so very strong. I expect probably a very defensive player.
Well, you can't be too defensive with a 28.3% win rate.
Well, sorry, or at least a intuitive, right?
Hmm.
To only deal in 10% of the time.
Oh, we hopped into this last game just in time to see a dealer sumo in all last. It
Wow.
looks like Joshua, doing everything he can not not end up in this last place and is now only 6,000 points
Oh, look,
behind Ada and
look
has
at
been dealt a great hand.
yeah, look at Josh's hand here with wow, with the white dragons in hand, pair of easts, which now in the south round you
Home.
can almost count on coming out for him, and some
See.
decent shapes otherwise. So yeah,
Yeah,
it's gonna call right away.
Home.
and is immediately going to
Oh
get the East as well. So this is
wow.
Ishanten for Josh. And since Josh has gotten the East, could even
See.
discard a Haku if it is necessary to get to Tenpai.
Yes. Wow. And what else is going on here at the table? We've got a pair of
Home.
souths to the right. Look to the left though is just lightning
Yeah,
fast.
Well, the hand was not a fast hand. Ada is just making it fast. Ada is calling absolutely everything, trying to prevent Josh from catching up to her. She is Ishanten with 3 calls.
Wow. Ishanten with 3 calls. The south hanging on to it for now. The white hanging on to it for now. Uh and has Dora as
See.
well in her calls.
Oh, this is Tenpai now
Oh,
for Josh, waiting on the
Ricci.
Hatsu.
reach
Oh, we got a Ricci. This is
everyone.
This is
Everyone
a
pushing here.
shan pawn on 8 mon and south.
So Ada dropping the 5, which probably means they're looking to bail a little bit. Dealer's gonna do the same, dropping the green dragon because they know it's safe.
Yeah, but dealer obviously not going to fold.
Right.
Could drop a Haku here and wait on the 6 peen.
And that's
And
exactly
does.
what they're gonna do.
Oh, but
Oh,
draws a draw of the south. So
oh,
that's a double south, a
wow! Look at
Dora, a
this hand.
Sumo.
Oh, wow! Ending things with a Mongon.
Not quite enough to get Austin into first, but it is enough for a very good second. And Josh has to be really disappointed. That hand was so fast. You were Tempai so early. You needed to win, but someone just sumoed their Shanpalm weight to get ahead of you.
Look at it, and I guess I'm sorry we missed most of this game because we have 2 people over 40,000. So you just know that some monstrous hands were happening there. And I guess what we missed that I'm just reading in the chat is there were some big hands. I guess Ada dealt into a double roan in East 1 and wasn't able to maybe quite climb back by the end of the by the end of the game.
Yeah, and since we missed it, we'll probably actually go check that double roan out because it doesn't look like their next game has started yet. So we have just a little bit of time
Okay.
until they get things going. So we can see if anything really fantastic happened. And we see in the chat as well people talking about Austin's deal-in rate. That is a 6.5, I believe, which is one of, not quite the lowest in the league, but definitely one of the lowest in the league.
So we're gonna go back and take a look here.
Yeah, so it's a 5.5. Wow, it is so hard to read sometimes. the
Look,
the small numbers there.
but okay, so we're skipping here to the end.
We had a con of the 9 so, and the dealer called Ricci waiting on the 5 so for Ricci Ipeco. Unfortunately, no two Dora after that con, so a very handy con.
So so see we don't know how this ends. So this is gonna be still a little bit of a surprise to us. 4 comes out.
The player on the left is Tempai as well, waiting on the 6 mon or
Or
5
the or
so.
the 5 so. Ooh,
Oh, and the 5
and the
so
5
comes
so comes out,
out.
and so
That
there it is.
that's a double wrong. Deals
No.
into
Oh,
yep.
double roan.
There's the 2000, right? Just the Haku Dora 1 with the
Door
1
1.
torso, but
And
deals into
then,
a dealer
oh,
Hanuman.
oh, a dealer Hanuman with, what's going on in that hand there?
Yeah, Ricci, Ipeco, Dora 2, Ura 3.
Ura 3, and that's really what just pushed that hand. Wow, Ura 3 and 2 Dora, so
And 4 of the Dora in that hand are the 4 so, which is kind of incredible.
wow.
So that early hit it's very good for Ada that she was able to climb into third even, seeing where all of this started.
Right. Yeah, just I mean, East that happened in East 1, you know?
East 1 repeat 0.
Mm. But so there we are. So, an exciting first game, uh, with players. You look at these standings here. Uh, Ada, who is first with plus 251, which, well, and I say that I are these updated or no?
Yes, these are. They have only
Okay.
played one Hanchan so far, so 13 out of 20 is correct.
Okay, so Ada's still, hanging on to first, but now is Joe is that much closer at second, and Felipe in the playoff range right now.
But
At
Felipe's very close to those guaranteed B1 spots. And in Pool A of Division B2, you really would like to get the guaranteed B1. In a lot of the other pools, just aiming for the playoff, I mean, being assured your spot is obviously better, but just getting to the playoff, you feel like you can work with. This B1 B2 playoff is going to be brutal for Pool A because these four players, whoever ends up, so if it were to end right now, that would be Peter, Felipe, Christopher, and Matthew. Those four players will have four Hanchan against each other, and only the person in first gets to move up to B1. The other three move down into B2, and having to get first in four Hanchan is going to be really tough.
Now, for people that are watching and may not be as familiar, this is as differing to B and C, where the top two people in playoffs would move up, correct?
Yes, and pools B and C are going to have a connected playoff where the players in fourth and fifth in Pool B and the players in fourth and fifth in Pool C will have one table, and the top two will go to B1, the bottom two will go to B2. Um, they're talking about the top four being hard to get into with these scores. I'm not sure how true that is. I mean, it's hard to get into the top one. Ada is very far ahead, and Joe is kind of getting there as well, but that fourth spot is at 184, and even for Christopher, that's 60 points away. That's not impossible. You can definitely achieve that.
But even so, even looking at who's playing, this game, Felipe just needs 30. A little more than 30, but 35. And Peter 10. 10, not even 10 would put Peter in fourth.
Yeah, so it's going to be the fifth session, which is the last regular session for all of B2, is going to be an absolute roller coaster. It's going to be very exciting to see how those games turn out these next 2 weeks. Austin and Joshua, though, also have something to fight for. Joshua is trying to climb out of this B3 hole. You're 56 points away from the playoff, and you are kind of glued to getting to that number. I mean, the guaranteed B2 spot is 140 away. You don't feel like you can do that normally in 7 Hanchan, although it is, of course, possible. But 56, that's a lot more doable. You just have to think of that as that's a solid first and maybe a really good second on a good day. So that is doable for Joshua. Everyone here has a chance to move up. Austin, of course, 73 or 74 away from getting a guaranteed B2 slot. Austin definitely also going to need big hands to make that happen.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, still just waiting on this next game to start here. I may take a second, if you don't mind, to grab some water while we wait.
Yes, I will do the same, and we will come right back once the next game has gotten underway.
See you guys soon. Oh, and it's starting right now. But we actually have some time then, don't we?
Yeah, we still have a couple minutes to grab a drink since it takes 5 minutes with the delay on Tenho, so we will still step away for just a second. And welcome back here. The game is already underway. It should pop up on your screens here in just a second. But we actually already have two cheese on the right of dealer. So Josh is our first dealer. Ada is on the right. Ada has called chi. Of the 1, 2, 3 so is Atazuke, I assume, waiting for the Hatsu to come out of somebody's hand. And Felipe has also called chi on a terminal, but for Felipe, might be going some other route. Could turn this into a Pin Honitsu, could turn this into a Chanta, but as it is, cannot. Oh, wait, no, that's an Itsu. That's a pure straight. I can count, don't worry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yes, a pure straight waiting on the 5 pin for Felipe. And whoo, Ada saved from having to discard that 5 pin by drawing the 6 pin. So
Dealer themselves with not a terrible hand, unfortunately, just has to contend with some speed at the other parts of the table. But they themselves have a couple completed sets, and a couple completed sets in a pair, depending on how you want to look at it. And with the 8's able to become a set, or they can keep as their pair, and that 4-5 just waiting on a 3-6. So, and that is what they are going to do, pitching the 7s perhaps because it's a safe tile.
yeah, Ada on the right has shifted her hand into a 1, 2, 3 Sanshoku. So could find a Yaku even if the Hatsu do not come out. Although if the Hatsu come out, I do assume we'd see the Tuso dropped just to make sure that she gets that Tempai. The Dora not really at play in anybody's hands. 3 of them have been discarded, which is unusual for a Dora 5. Austin would very much like the Dora 5, so his hand also looking pretty nice, but just slow to be this far away still, to still be 2 away in the middle of the second row, especially when you have 2 people who are now Tempai.
We have a dealer Tempai as well now, waiting on the 3 or 6 in Monzu. Actually, sorry. Now, Ishanten now. Tempai, waiting on 3 or 6.
You were just seeing a few seconds into the future. That was pretty brilliant.
That was some Toki action.
Ada as well, Tempai on the 4 pin and the 7 pin, drew the final Hatsu for her Tempai. And
Sumo.
The 5 pin, a Sumo on the single weight for the open straight. A very clutch win for Felipe, and taking that Ricci stick doubles the value of his hand.
Wow.
Meanwhile, Dealer on this round could go for a So Honitsu, although we'll need to make a lot more blocks for that to happen, and might not want to with the
Dora possibility.
With the 7 So connecting, not 7 So. What is that suit? It starts with an M.
Monzu.
Oh, Monzu. Yeah, that's the one. Thanks for the save there. So, if they're able to draw the Dora, would probably keep that, especially since most of these honor tiles are disconnected.
Yeah, to the right, maybe the next quickest hand, some strong shapes. Particularly got a completed shape in Sozu, and the 2, 3, 3, 5, 7. Just this like very long interconnected block that can just become a lot. In fact, draws another 2, so now a 1 and a 4 is or another 2 or another 3, and there's the other 2. So look at this hand just trucking right along now. Ishanten.
Yeah, an incredibly wide Ishanten as well, since drawing anything around those Beyondman shapes will complete the hand. You can just drop from the 2 pin or the 3 pin to create your pair if you so choose. And now could even get Tanya out of this if you get the 4 So.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ada, as dealer, has pushed for this Honitsu, had to empty out the hand of Mon, but has finally gotten to a point where all she has are honor tiles and So tiles, Only 2 shapes though, really. Only, well, 3 shapes counting the West Pone. So she has a lot of work to do to make that
Come.
Honitsu come to completion. It's going to be hard to race Felipe on the right, who has now gone to the 3-peen and made the Hatsu Dora. So Josh might hold on to that Hatsu for a while, and Ada might hold on to that Hatsu for a while, giving each other a chance to draw a second. Do we see a Chi here?
Chi.
Yes,
we
we
do.
do. 4, 5, 6 Chi.
Drops east, so now yeah, completed. Yeah, just needs one of those honors or the 9 so to come to her. Unfortunately, it's been a lot of but makes the early decision to go for the Hatsu and has since been drawing just a ton of Monzu.
Yeah, could almost have a full straight in Monzu at this point with the tiles in her discard. Josh's hand on the left, growing pretty well, has a nice shapes in
Riichi.
Monzu and Sozu, and 2 complete shapes in Pinzu. But Felipe on the right, finally drawing into Tenpai, draws a 2-so, discards the 3-so, is now waiting on the 2-mon or 5-mon for Riichi Tanyao, with some foo added in just for fun.
And I mean that 2 so pickup was really nice, making the decision easy of what to make the pair.
I would have liked to see a second con just for the fun of it, but as Nathaniel has pointed out in the chat, that is, that would have reduced the wideness of the Ishanten. Josh calling Chi on the 6, 7, 8 mon and willing to toss a live Dora into that hand. It draws a deal-in tile, but it helped him out. So now Josh's Tenpai waiting on the 6-so and 9-so. Only the 6-so will be a Yaku, since that would be Tanyao. That is Tanyao Dora 1.
Oh, there it is from dealer.
Wow.
That 9 is not going to finish. So now, wow, this is really nice for Ada, who saw something perhaps we didn't right away. Right, of these are a lot of disconnected honors, but she now has just waiting on the South or Green Dragons.
Yeah, and that South very well could come out of Austin's hand. It was good that Josh discarded the Hatsu when he did. It was the very next draw where Ada got into Tenpai waiting on it.
Yeah, so let's see what happens here.
For the 2-mon and 5-mon, there's still a lot of those in the wall, and there's one of them. Sure, this might deal in.
It comes out.
So we have Riichi, Tanyao,
Dora, and then Orodora. Wow, gets an Orodora. Very nice.
So a manga on there for Felipe.
Very nice.
I think I misread the hand a little bit, but oh well. It's good that Tenho lists them all out. Although I do wish I could actually read the Yaku so that I could verify what was going on with them.
Well, we'll have to get some flashcards.
Maybe we can have an ARML like quick Yaku like Duolingo course or something.
Yeah.
Felipe though has the double easts here, so this could be a very fast hand, especially with a completed shape in Pinzu already. Felipe's hand could speed up considerably, which is good news, especially since Ada on the left has already called for Otazuke, is what just needs a Haku to come out and has a very nice Ishanten, although Austin is going to be in Felipe's way with 2 of the Easts on the right. They're stuck in this mochi situation.
Yep, they're stuck dueling each other, but across the table, they're hanging on to the Souths, at least for now, just because the hand itself is, it's a little work. And so,
Ada drew the 6-mon, and so unfortunately got punished for the Otazuke calls. is now Thuritan waiting on the 3-so and 6-so. Cannot win on them if they are drawn because there will be no Yaku. Could shift this into a Toy Toy though, and if a Haku comes out, I imagine that is what will happen. Yeah, this 6-so doesn't deal in, so it is a perfectly fine tile for Josh to discard.
Yes. And to the right, we now have a reach, which is funny because we were just about to visit that hand. Waiting on, it looks like a 5 or 8 pin.
Has one Dora.
And that 5 pin comes out right there, which is going to allow Felipe to overtake Ada.
Yeah, Ricci Epot's Dora 1 for Austin.
So now we are in East 4. This has been a very quick East round.
We had lots of repeats last Han-chan, no repeats this time. Austin already with the double East though, so we could see a repeat here. Also has the Dora 5-pin and very nice Ryokan shape in the Sozu. So if Austin can connect something to that Foramon, you could see a quick hand, although not as quick as Felipe.
Felipe reaching, waiting on
1 Mon and 4 Mon.
1 or 4 Mon, yep.
That's Ricci Pinfu. And it comes
out of me. Wow.
I mean, a terminal wait that early is really, really good. Ends up with Ricci Pinfu Ura 1.
Of who? And so South 1, North is opening up with a couple Souths. And East.
And East is opening up with a couple Norths.
and an East tile that is now only useful to them, so could certainly be a save tile later, or do you draw into it? And
yeah, has 2 of the Dora 7-so. Unfortunately, it's going to be really hard for Josh to turn this into a quick hand. All of these terminals and honors, and well, you can't incorporate 2 Dora into a, well, could be Toy Toy or could be Chi Toy.
Yeah, that draw definitely will help a little bit. Across the table, we've got a pair of Chuns and a pair of Souths. And
more
enough,
Mochi.
Yep, more Mochi Mochi, and enough Pinzu that I think Honitsu isn't that impossible of a dream, especially looking at how disconnected the 3 and 8 are in Mon.
Yeah, with that 8-so discard and the 8-so being a nice tile to go along with the Dora 7-so, I feel like a Honitsu might be the shift for Felipe, which is definitely beneficial given that those other Souths are currently being hoarded by Austin. On the right, Ada does not have nearly as quick of a hand as anyone else at the table, but is still only 2 away. Can turn this into a nice little Ricci hand very quickly. We do have the call from Felipe, so Felipe is Ishanten for a Honitsu.
And what's nice is that's gonna, and maybe you said this, this is gonna allow him to dodge that Mochi Mochi situation because that can easily just be their pair.
Absolutely, and Josh getting the pawn on the 7-mon, so now has a chance at Toy Toy. Just need to get, need to pair up one more tile. Oh, and there it is! Pairs up the East. Only 1 has been discarded so far, so if anybody else draws an East, it's pretty likely to come out unless that Honitsu becomes even more scary. Oh, and there's Tenpai for Felipe, waiting on the South and the Chun. No Chun have been discarded yet. If someone draws it, that's going to be trouble. Oh, Josh can't take this Tenpai because there's no Yaku. Ada not really concerned about the 1-pin there. Oh, and there's the Chun.
Gonna come out.
Josh already in last place. Very unfortunate tile there. Had such a valuable hand.
Oh, Mongon. drops under 10,000 points with that.
Yeah, whenever you are able to get two Yakuhai along with your Honitsu, that makes it much more viable to open. That 4 Han Honitsu is perfect. Oh, it was also a pure straight. It was only one Yakuhai. I totally missed the pure straight, as I've been doing all day. I might need to go back to math teacher training for a bit because the counting is not working. We do have a very nice dealer hand for Ada. She's not dreaming of a 5/6/7 Sanshoku though, as she tosses the 7-mon immediately. Is just going to take this very wide Ishanten right off the bat. Oh, and we already have an East
Wow.
call from Austin, a very aggressive Honitsu push from Austin.
Yeah, looking at the rest of the table, just yeah, I mean everyone's hands. I mean, to the left you see a lot of monsoons. To the right you see a lot of honor tiles. Uh, and which neither of them are uh their their win, but it looks like they also might be going for a Honitsu.
Yeah, Felipe can kind of
Ricci.
just hang around, but Ada does get the Tempai and calls Ricci waiting on the Forso. Does not have a Suji trap yet because you need both the 1-so and the 7-so to be. Oh, wait, does have a Nakasuji trap. The 1-so was pawned by Austin, so people are paying attention. They might think that 4-so is safe with the 1 and the 7 both having been discarded by Ada.
A lot of people assuming that the hand is they're gonna push their hands, and I'm not saying that's the case, but with two people trying to gather so tiles, that makes it, and they're not. That's gonna be a bail from the right.
Yeah, and this is the first Dora draw up from anyone so far. And if you're Josh, you've got to be pretty worried about this Dora draw. You see a Honitsu on your left, not a bunch of Sozu discarded anywhere. I mean, only one Sozu has been discarded, period. So that Chun looks horrifying.
Oh, sumo though, dealer sumo.
Gets the 4-so and gets one Ura.
Wow.
So that Ricci only hand not tripling, quadrupling in value with the sumo and the Ura.
Wow.
And that brings Ada above 30K. That was huge for her.
Wow. Yeah, that was a good and gets to keep the run going. Our first dealer repeat of what has been until now a pretty fast moving game.
And has an absolutely incredible hand. Is Ishanten already? I wonder if you call the Souths if they come out. Maybe call the Souths, discard the 7-peen and 9-peen. Then you can go for Yakuhai Dora 1. It'd be interesting to see how Ada builds this hand.
Yeah, looking across the table, you see there's a pair of their seat wind, and some disconnected honor tiles, but some blocks that oh look, just finished a block. So completed the 1-2-3 shape. That 7-8 now calls their when this is looking like a really quick moving hand across the table.
Oh, but this Ada could call this 4-so if she really wanted to push for Itsu, and does. Now has a headless Ishanten. If she draws a 3-mon, 4-mon, or 9-so, would be Ishanten waiting for South, potentially Dora 1, potentially Dora 2, and a full straight.
Yeah, and I guess
what's Mongon on a 3M draw. And there it is! Oh my goodness! Ada pulls it in the Dora! So this, on a 9-so hit, this would be a dealer Mongon on a 6-so, still 3 Han for Ada. So that would be absolutely huge.
Would be huge. Probably gonna take it either direction though. I mean, the 9,
obviously, yes.
yeah, I mean the 9 would be nice, but you'll take the 6 if and when you see it for sure.
Oh god, that 5-so, a very brave discard of the 5-so into what appears to be a Honitsu to anyone else at the table, I would think. And there's the 9-so comes
And
right
it's
into it. The Takame
wow.
deal in. Josh
Wow.
going negative, cannot
Oh.
bust because of league rules, but oh, this hurts.
Oh, oh no. And so I wonder if Josh just felt like he had to push there given the point spread and that's what makes this game so dicey is the further you drop in points, the more aggressive you got to be, but then the more you have to stand to lose.
That's when you're forced into that aggression, it's very easy to go on really huge winning streaks and really huge losing streaks. As it is though, we're having a second dealer repeat for Ada, and this hand could also be massive. A beautiful Sozu shape, good shapes in the pin, and 2 Dora in the Manzu with the
Mm.
1 Mon. So this hand is 2 away, an amazing 2
Great
away
draw.
now.
Great draw. Wow.
Absolutely ideal is thinking about dropping, I would assume, either the 5 Mon or the 2 Mon. All right, drops the 5 Mon. Will probably take the Ricci if the 3 Mon comes in. Just you'd be trading 1 Dora for Pinfu, so it's worth it if you think about it. Oh, but gets a 3rd Dora instead.
Wow.
Calls
Oh my
Ricci. This
gosh.
is Ricci Dora 3
Wow.
waiting on the 3-so and the 6-so. Ada's luck right now. Everything is flowing into her hand.
Wow. Just look at that. Just draws the 3rd Doris. This hand, if she wins, is gonna be massive. I think 5-7 unfortunately is not gonna get um Pinfu or even Tanya for that matter, but Reach Dora 3, like just it's expensive.
Yeah, a sumo and 1 ura would be enough to get a dealer Hanuman, which would be an absolutely crushing hand. We see 2 3-so out and all 4 6-so. So there are only 2 3-so left in the wall. So we're gonna have to see how everyone plays defense here. The only person who's really close to fighting here, I think, is Felipe. Doesn't really need to fight from a points perspective. Yes, is just playing safe tiles, so probably won't deal in as long as those safe tiles are available, but they always run out at the most inconvenient times. Austin has a opportunity to call the seat wind west here. Look, he's really thinking about it, unsure of what to do, and
Calls
does.
it,
So Austin
but
going
perhaps
to push a
feels
little bit.
pushing a little bit. There was an early discard of the Green Dragon, so uh, it was again hasn't been forced to make a hard decision yet, but they might.
Josh, though, forced into a hard decision, is getting closer to Tempai, has 4 pairs, has shapes here. If Josh gets into a Chitoy, or if even drawing the 6-peen is able to get rid of a shape, might have to discard that 3-so.
Great draw on the right now. Tempai waiting on the 3-so for a Tanyao, Dama Tanyao.
Yeah, and that last 3-so, if it's in the wall somewhere, if either Josh or Austin deals it, that will be a pretty. Oh, but the
Oh,
sumo they pulls it in.
draws it, and gets a nice little 3,600.
Steals it
Oh,
right from underneath Ada's
wow.
nose and keeps first place despite Ada knocking
Wow.
right on his door.
Yeah, Ada was coming for it. Look at this dealer hand from Felipe. Wow. Opening with the east, pair of easts, opening with the pair of whites. Uh yeah, it's kind of wow. Another
Yeah, this
just
is
little
going to be a
fast win.
lightning fast hand. Can just call yourself wherever you need to. There's Yakuhai all over the table. In fact, Ada has the Hatsu on the left, also has a pair of West, although that is not her seat win, so not Yakuhai. And then across the table, Josh has a pair of Souths, which of course is the prevalent win. So Yakuhai in abundance. Austin on the right just has your classic, incredibly fast Tanyao Pinfu hand with a couple different Sanshoku chances according to what he's able to draw. Six mon,
Only
yeah,
one
discarding the 8 mon.
only one person with Dora in their hand, and that's across the table.
Boom.
So that means there's a lot of Dora to be found, but
And
oh, wow.
Felipe draws into Ishanten, discards the Hatsu, Ada calls the Hatsu, and then that shifted the tiles so that Felipe drew the third East and is now waiting on the 7 mon and the Haku might come out right
No,
now.
Comes
And
out
it
right now.
does.
Oh,
So that is going to be double Yakuhai for 3,900 for Felipe, and we are going into another repeat.
Felipe and Ada are having kind of a duel here. Last couple hands.
And Josh is just like, please leave something for me. This is wild.
So dealer, not as lightning quick of a hand as we saw last time, but still very strong. You have the 3-4-4 block, a 6-7-7 block, both really strong blocks. The 6 and 3, the 6 pin 3 so kind of disconnected, but then another 8-9-9. So you've got like all these bloated shapes, which is interesting.
Felipe the first to discard the Dora Chun, so we'll see what anyone else does if they pull it into hand. Ada on the left has 4 pairs and pretty awful shape, so Ada might just try to make that into a chi toy. We'll see what she is able to draw. She has shown that no draw is too unlikely for her to pull in. We do have Mochi Mochi though between Josh and Austin. Both have 2 Souths. Austin has an advantage, though. Austin has a pretty clear path to a Manzu Honitsu and has just opened for that very hand, so does not need the South to get into a winnable Tempai. Although, it being double South for Austin, he would really like to take it. Now, Ishanten for Chitoy for Ada on the left.
And then finally just across the table, yeah, a hand that's just a little no completed only one completed shape at this point. And just gonna hang on to those Souths. Wonder how long they'll hang on to the Green Dragons, but at this point you're looking at the 2 calls at the table that are both Manzu, and honor tiles have just become a little more dangerous.
Yeah, the Hatsu not too bad though. You see 1 in Ada's discards and 1 as the Dora indicator tile, so it does flow out of Josh's hand pretty naturally.
And dealer still, struggling a little bit to get a hand that's Ishanten. Instead, just has a couple completed shapes at 6. Doesn't help a lot, but
It's such a hard choice to make there. You draw the 6 mon, and you have to discard one of your shapes if you want to keep that very nice mon shape, and elects to do so. Is still Ishanten.
the
And
good
there's a
news
lot of
is,
very good improvements to this hand, but there's also a lot of draws where you end up with pretty bad weights.
yeah, I mean, the good news is, there is the possibility of Ipeco.
Oh, a free-sided Tempai. A three-sided Tempai for Austin now, waiting on the 1 mon, 4 mon, and the South. We see the final 1 mon is in Ada's hand. The 2 Souths, of course, as have been in Josh's hand the entire round. And 2 4 mon are in Felipe's hand. The other 2 are in the wall. So Ada might deal in once again here. But that 1 mon is looking pretty good for 7 pairs and pretty bad for that to deal into Honitsu. So perhaps Ada is able to hold on to it. We'll see what happens if she draws a 4-peen or 3-peen. Draws a 4-so. So is going to take the slight possibility of getting a triples hand here.
And
Ooh, this 8-mon doesn't look great either.
well, but the 8 has passed once. Oh, nice draw the 4.
It's not Tenpai.
No, but they're gonna be able to dodge a deal in.
So it'll be if Felipe gets Tenpai, it'll be interesting to see what he discards. No matter how he gets to Tenpai, well, unless he draws a 5-mon, will not be forced to discard a 4-mon to stay Tenpai. So could very well dodge dealing in. Probably doesn't want to discard any Monzu at all, though, if he can avoid it. I mean, he's in a pretty far ahead first, so does not need to risk things. Ada, on the other hand, is discarding all of the Monzu. Not really all that concerned. And we do see Tenpai for Felipe pulled in that 2-mon and was able to have a Conchon. So Felipe and Austin both Tenpai.
Gonna hang on to that dealership.
So that was incredible Mawashi from Felipe to hold on to Tenpai and not help Austin achieve that Honitsu. We have an immediate West call from Josh. I mean, Josh has a Honitsu in the Dora suit. Would probably also like to make this Toy Toy. If you could get Honitsu, Seatwind, Toy Toy, Dora 2 or 3, you would feel a lot better about this round. And it's just going to call all Monzu, it seems.
Yeah, so lightning quick, but Tucker, look at what's going on the left.
Oh my god! 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 terminals and honors for Ada is just missing the south. Oh, 1-mon and 9-mon.
1-mon and 9-mon, which is so I don't know if, unfortunately, we've got so much speed from across the table. It'll be interesting to see if she's going to have enough time to luck into drawing those.
She has already won a Yakuman this season. That's a second 9-pin, so one step closer. Now 2 away from Kokoshi for Ada. Felipe, our dealer, is just, I think Felipe is just full on Sakagiri at this point. Discarded a couple terminals and honors early, is now holding on to every terminal and honor that he is drawing, and is discarding anything but Monzu. We'll see what happens when Felipe is forced to discard either a Monzu or an honor, what he chooses to do. But is just trying not to deal into anything, just wants to see everybody kind of not win. Would definitely prefer a win from Josh than Ada.
Absolutely, but we are so early into this round. Oh, another 5. Curious to see what happens. So they're going to hang on to the 5, which is going to allow them to make some calls if some Monzu came out, but unlikely at this point.
Austin also scared of this Kokoshi. Has not discarded Eternal Honor since turn 3, and a lot of those Sozu would have been helpful to him. Is now Ishan 10 for Chitoy, so can pretty reasonably safely avoid this. Oh, there's a third 9-mon.
Oh, so
Test the waters, tosses one out, and it's
2,
fine.
the 2 getting close.
Does Felipe toss the 9-mon now? Does not. If I was Felipe, I would have yeeted that 9-mon so fast.
Yeah, and there's a 1. Drops one of the 9s in lieu of a third 1.
Yeah, because now you really feel like you can't discard the 9-mon.
Draws another 2. So unfortunately, calls it this time. Didn't call it the first time.
Oh, this is gonna deal if that comes out of Austin's hand. It deals that would deal into Austin if it comes out of Josh's hand, and doesn't. Is scared of probably the Kokoshi even more than Austin or Felipe.
Sure.
Austin has to choose between Yakuhai tiles.
Oh,
Oh, and discards the
that's
9 so.
man. The 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 speed that we were seeing right off the bat, from Josh across the table has kinda Ada has put enough pressure on the table with her scary looking discards that she may be buying herself the time she need well, I say that, but I didn't look, but there's only 3 draws left.
Yeah, Ada never got any
Oh,
closer
she
to
got the
Tenpai.
1 though, look at that!
That that is the first
Oh,
step towards Tenpai Ada had taken since she drew a pair in, like, the beginning of
ooh,
the second row. She drew
scary.
no terminals and honors that whole time.
Ooh, scary.
But we end up with nobody Tenpai.
Nope. So now South 4 this last round of the game.
Austin with a very nice Tanyao looking hand here. Especially if you're able to pick up this 6 peen instead of the 9 peen. Austin needs to get ahead of Ada before this game comes to an end. Or at least that is what he would like to do. Second place getting more points. Although, as long as he's able to stay above 30k, will get positive UMA. Ada, on the other hand, trying to be fast and prevent that, was dealt an amazing Honitsu hand that can accept the Dora and has already called the Yakuhai South.
So now just waiting on the North to come out. And yeah, that is a really quick and clean looking Onitsu potential, like you mentioned. Dealer reaching though with that fantastic draw of the 2 mon. Now just waiting on a 6 pin or 9 pin, which immediately comes out. Immediately comes out. Oh,
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 and
look
it's
at
Aura,
that.
Richie
Oh,
and Patsu, Pinfu, Aura 1, and Josh
wow.
gets hit with another manga.
Oh no. Oh, you know, at this point, you just it you have to feel bad for Josh. Unfortunately, he just caught in a really bad situation of having to push and just everyone at the table just being a little bit faster.
And Austin here dealt another incredible hand. Could pretty easily start making his push towards first place. Only 12,400 points back. So with the 4 Honba on the table, a dealer Mongon would in fact be enough to overtake Felipe. Felipe, though, oh,
Great draw, great draw.
Austin has 2 complete shapes, has a beautiful Ishanten, and with that triplet of Haku can now open. Felipe on the left needs to get to Tenpai first, but has a lot of floating tiles. Really good complete shapes with the Anko of West and the 567 Mon, but everything else is just kind of floating out in the open.
I think the interesting thing about the dealer's hand is it can accept Dora.
Yes, the 9 peen can fit into Austin's hand very well. That is a beautiful.
He
And
draws
just
it,
as
he
pointed
draws
out,
it,
man,
it reaches it. Oh,
Richie Haku
wow.
Dora 1 waiting on the 1
Oh,
Dormon.
man. And everyone else at the
No.
table. Oh, and it immediately kills it again. Oh, my God.
Richie
Wow.
Haku Dora
Oh,
1.
my God.
2 consecutive
Wow.
rounds for Austin. Austin
Wow.
is now in first.
Wow, Austin is taken first. Everyone at this point, get me off this ride. Wow. Oh, insane.
An absolutely massive deal in.
Oh, such
So Felipe and Austin now, I mean, we almost have 2 players above 60k, which I do not think we have seen before.
oh,
Austin and Felipe, though, both have very slow hands.
Gee.
That Hatsu helped out Felipe. And yeah, Austin, all he can put together here really, a
Shoku.
1, 2, 3 Sanshoku. That's just about all he can get with this.
Mm.
On the right, though, Joshua with a very nice starting hand. It's not the Yakuman he needs, but I mean, Josh, I feel like would probably just take anything at this point. Get it over with. I know that's how I feel after games like this.
Oh, yeah, it's just the hole just keeps growing deeper. Ada's hand across the table, um, perhaps, uh, I'll preface this by saying it doesn't look like anyone has like a terribly fast hand, but Ada's might be the fastest, with a completed 1, 2, 3 shape and pin, possible Ipeco, shape and shapes and Sozu and a completed shape.
Ooh,
So all she
this would be a very nice cheat. You lose the Apeco, but by cheating the
Gee.
1, 2, 3 and ditching a 3-so, yes. Oh, does it ditch a 3-so? Yeah, you can still draw another 2 because you have Junchan as well, and you did not have a pair, which often ends up being a pretty tricky part of a Junchan to get. So that was a very, very nice chi from Ada to try and put an end to this dealer run, although an
Yeet.
open Junchan will not be enough for Ada to surpass 30,000 points, even with the huge stack of Honda on the table. We now have a Ricci from Josh, who has a San Menchan waiting on the 258. This is Ricci Penfu, Dora 2. So a nice hand for Josh. Winning a Mongon would be, a pretty nice way to end this what otherwise miserable game for Josh.
Boom.
And here comes the Fuso from Felipe. So Felipe, after being in the lead the entire game, deals into a Mongon.
Wow. Oh, so doesn't change the standings, but is gonna lessen the blow for Josh a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, 10,000 more points. You're not going to say no to that. But these scores, I mean, that game was just
Wow.
absolutely bonkers. Just
Oh, wow, that was insane. Yeah,
all
that
over
was
the place.
wow.
Austin with a massive first place. Plus 44.8 was exactly what he needed to start climbing into that B2 range. Needed 73 points total and gets over half of it in one round. Felipe also gets a plus 24.5. I mean, I've gotten firsts that are less than that. So that is still a fantastic second for Felipe and gets him even closer to that one. Or, well, actually, we'll put him like 3 points away from a guaranteed spot in B1, or no, 3 points away from the top position in the playoff so far. A little bit further off from the guaranteed B1 spot, but plus 24 is a good move. Ada, on the other hand, dropping some more points, still first overall. Josh, the minus 56, that hurts with his position overall right now.
Yeah, Josh now falling into demotion territory. But yeah, Ada, uh, if you're Joe, with 4 games left, you've now got a chance at first.
And the first doesn't really mean anything
No.
in these pools, but it does feel good.
Bragging
As
rights.
as Nathaniel pointed out in the chat, that was Austin's first place of the season. Was the only person in Division B2 Pool A who did not yet have a first. So that first was very big for Austin. It came at a perfect time to help move him up the charts. Now only one Felipe second, basically, away from B2.
There it is. Wow, that was very exciting game. Big hits, big swings. And now we just have to let our blood pressure drop a little bit before this last game.
Yeah, I mean, is it possible to drop images into Twitch, like the Twitch chat? Because this game results graph is just absolutely wild. I'm going to take a screenshot of it here and see if I can do anything with it, but I'm like a little technology dumb, so I don't know if that'll work out. Maybe I can drop it for Scott and see if Scott can put up this graph, because the next game hasn't started yet. So we have a little time to burn here, and I just want people to appreciate these absurd lines that we have.
Right.
Yeah, so we'll pull that up here in a second, but whew, I kind of wish you could see the stats change. I mean, that's a lot to be updated mid-game, so I understand why they are not updated until the end of the night when people aren't playing, but
Right, right.
it would be fascinating to see, like, what does Austin's average win look like now with all of those massive victories? What does Ada's average deal-in look like now with those massive hits that she took? I mean, Joshua's stats aren't horrible, but that game probably going to even out that win percentage and dealing rate, which you never really want to happen, unfortunately.
No. Now, for this pool, I mean, when we're talking about stats, would only be 16 games be reflected on those stats?
Yes, so far, well, not for everyone in this pool. So in Division B2, we pool A, we have everybody who placed in B2 in the Beta League season of the ARML, along with a few new arrivals. I believe there were 13 off the top of my head, if I remember correctly. 13 of the people in this pool were in the ARML last season, so all of those players will have data from the Beta League as a part of their statistics. So all four of these players are new to the beta league, which is actually kind of interesting because that's very unlikely to happen statistically. As a math person, that's kind of funny. But
Well, and there's your graph. Looks like a bolt of lightning. Just thunderstrike.
four bolts of lightning, and that basically describes the randomness of it too. Although it hasn't popped up on Twitch just yet. Just gonna take another second to get that pushed out. And
Okay.
while it does,
I'm talking like I got future sight again.
you do. I want to know where you get your crystal balls because they are obviously the right ones.
Yeah.
But okay, now it is up. Everyone can see it. So,
Just kind of
boy,
wow. So just Felipe and Josh just the it looks just mirrored. And then Austin and Ada kind of dancing there in the middle. But again, like even like I mentioned, Ada and Felipe went at each other a lot, and that game, and it was just yeah, just some big swings.
and I mean, it's kind of funny too because it's really important when you look at these graphs that we get that we see in the Discord server that you pay attention to the y-axis because the y-axis always immediately adjusts to whatever the maximum and minimum scores are. So the scale of the y-axis is variable in all of these graphs. So you kind of have to look at it to see just how bonkers something was, and seeing that 60K at the top and the negative 30K being the minimum at the bottom is whew. And I mean, you can tell just from the graph too, all of the repeats in South 2 and South 3, and even the repeats in South 4. Like you have East 1, East 2, East 3, East 4, South 1, South 2 forever. South 3 forever. South 4 like
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, that East round just flew by, and then the South round just got significantly slower.
yeah, I do wonder, is the group going to play another game here? Josh is in the Twitch chat, so maybe Josh can clue us in to if the other two games are going to happen or if there's going to be a long break. Because this graph is interesting, but I don't know if it's interesting enough to stay on for like 30 minutes if they're taking a prolonged break.
I mean, unless you want to give a math lesson here about slope and
I mean, I could. This would be actually, if I was going to give a math lesson here, I might talk about Brownian motion, which I'm sure everybody would absolutely love. You know, white noise.
yeah, white noise. Yeah.
Yeah, white noise is like if you took Brownian motion and never moved. So if you take white noise and every time the sound wave jumped up or down, you took the next jump in sound wave and started from the peak of the last sound wave, you would end up creating Brownian motion. Is probably the best, like the stock market operates on a sort of Brownian motion.
So not to hurt your feelings, but you may have guessed as a journalist that does writing and reading for a living, math was never my strong suit.
Hey, you can be good at both. I double majored in college in philosophy and mathematics. So
Oh wow,
I,
that's actually impressive. Cool.
one of my favorite things to do is try and convince humanities people that they can do analytics and convince analytical people that they can do humanities. But um, okay, it looks like the game is going to start in about 3 minutes here. Reteach you how to solve correlation functions.
No thanks.
All right, so what you do is you open up Excel and you type whatever is you want a correlation on into Excel, and Excel does it for you, and it's very, very pretty. You just have to make sure that you display the equation on the chart and display the R value on the chart, and then it'll give you everything you need.
Well,
So
and I think if yeah, I mean, if this the league stats the way they're tracked should just be a testament to how awesome Excel is. I mean, we live in Excel. Everything our viewers, everything our players see from Discord comes from Excel.
I think I think the person who asked about Excel um, got momentarily banned by Nightbot.
Oh no.
I don't know how to unban somebody actually. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna pull up this Wikipedia while we wait for the game to start.
That's funny.
Um, you know what? Excel probably doesn't do this on its own, but since Excel has all the probability functions baked into it, you could get Excel to do it if you hard coded in the equations that you needed. Don't want to. That's pretty advanced. So I don't want to linger on that and make people totally zone out. But
Like we just watch our Twitch numbers just drop.
just drop unfollow, 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 unfollow. They talk about
Uh,
math here.
yeah, God, they're breaking the cardinal rule. Don't do math on streams.
Nathaniel makes a good point that you're probably using R instead of Excel. Yeah, Korak tells me not to do math on stream all the time, and I it's really I break that rule I think at least 5 times per stream.
It's in your nature. You can't help it.
Yeah, I mean it's what I do literally for a living.
Right, right. Okay, and so now we are just probably less than 60 seconds from this next game starting. So we're going into the last game of the second to last session. And again, if you're just tuning in right now, the last game, you've missed some really big swings, and it'll be curious to see in this game what the players do about it.
Yeah, I mean you've got having this break is so important. After almost every single game I play in the league, I've been like, "Hey, 5 minute break, please,"
Right. Yeah.
because I have a tendency towards tilt. I get very unhappy with how I play. I just need that time to breathe.
Yeah.
Maybe grab my drink of choice to help me calm down.
Stretch your legs, go outside and get some. That's what I do. I'll step outside and just feel the sunshine too, because it's also, I mean, you're staring in front of a screen for a prolonged amount of time too. So,
Oh, absolutely. Rest your eyes a little bit.
yep,
If
yep.
if I went outside, I'd probably end up screaming at like a bluebird or something and feel just even worse. So I just like crawl underneath the covers and cocoon myself.
But no, I agree. I think breaks are important, especially if, even more so if you're going to do what they're doing and just shooting through all 4 games. But here we are in East one of the last game with
Second to last, they still have 2 more to play.
oh, I'm sorry. I thought this was the last.
Wait, hold on. I'll double check. They played their first game right then. That's their second game.
Okay,
And
you're right.
this is their
You're right.
yeah.
Okay, yeah. So in my head, since we cut in, but you're right. We were waiting for them to start, so that makes sense. But anyway, Ada is our first dealer with uh, with a really nice pickup there of the
Gee.
green dragons. Now has 4 pairs in hand, uh, but no shapes beyond that. Well, it's
Oh,
another
well,
nice draw. Another nice.
right that, San Minchan and the Pinzu now.
There it is. So
Felipe on the right, though, has a very nice Honitsu. Just Ishanten now, after that call, is lacking a pair? No, not necessarily. Not
don't want
necessarily
to,
lacking a pair. A 6-mon could be a pair there.
and potentially Itsu.
Oh, yes. Thank you for pointing you. Well, I'm glad you pointed it out. You knew I wasn't going to see it. So, got to pick up each other's slack. We could see a Chanta from Austin. Would just need to get rid of that
wow.
sex peen. But let's slide over to Josh. The first 2 Tempai calls Ricci, and it is time for the comeback to begin. Waiting on the 1-so and 4-so. Immediately
Comes
gets
out.
Felipe.
There it is. Just
The Apatsu was broken because of the 5-mon chi that Felipe called, but Josh starting out in first, a powerful beginning.
Yeah, so now it is Felipe's deal. Nice pickup of the 9 there to start things off.
What's
And
up with our dealers starting with pairs of Wests?
yeah, I don't know. It's like the Mahjong gods are trying to tell them something.
I don't know what they're trying to tell them exactly.
That this game is cruel.
Oh, it's just mocking them. That's
Yeah, it's like that this game is cruel. But other than that, another really nice pickup here. So you've now got the 3-4-5 shape with the 1-3 waiting, 7-8-9 completed shape. If nothing else,
Ooh.
there's another 4. Wow.
This
So-
is now perfect Ishanten for Felipe for Pinfu, possibly a Peiko.
Mm,
The closest hand is
oh, look at
probably
that! Wow, the
that's
6.
not Senpai.
Oh, not Tenpai.
The closest hand is probably across the table. You have a couple of completed shapes in Sozu and Manzu, and then very, very nice, easily fillable shapes in the Pinzu and Sozu as well. So Josh could catch up to Felipe here. Ada on the left has 2 of the Dora Forso. So if Ada is able to make something out of that Nobitan Pinzu shape, perhaps make an Itsu in the Sozu, then she would have a hand probably worth pushing even against Dealer.
Now, how we also have, I mean, so everybody but dealer has Dora in their hand, and Dora that looks like can be incorporated. I don't see anyone pitching their Dora.
Yeah, Felipe's big advantage was the just raw efficiency of his hand, but ever since entering Perfect Ishanten, just has drawn absolutely nothing. There's another nothing tile. Toss that back in.
Just still waiting on a 4 or a 6. Meanwhile, everyone else. Oh,
There's
there it
Tenpai.
is.
So
There's
waiting
Tenpai.
on the 2-mon and 5-mon. The 5-mon will give Ipeco, although there is only 1 more of those left, and it is pretty well locked into Austin's hand. There are more 2-mon left to win on, though. 2 still in the wall. So 4 tiles left. Or no, I can't count. 2, just the 2 tiles left in the wall, and 4 tiles total that Felipe could grab for Ricci Pinfu, and a potential for Ipeco if for some reason Austin decides to discard the 5-mon, which I doubt will occur. But
All right.
ooh, that 2-mon doesn't fit into Josh's hand.
Was gonna hang on to it.
Yeah, discards the safe 1-mon. This looks probably like a fold, although you can still Mawashi at this point. Ooh, what a draw for Austin. You could chase calling the Forso here, but that's Dora. Yeah, elects not to. Would have had a San Minchan wait 2-5-8, but is just too worried about that Dora Forso. Does not want to toss that into a dealer Ricci, and that is perfectly understandable.
Yeah, absolutely. If even the hanging on to the 7 for now. Lex to drop that, hang on to the 2 instead. Might also be kind of dancing around here between the area of, do I push this hand order?
Oh, well, now has a better Tempai because you now get to keep the Dora, but it is Furiton. Austin has already discarded a Tuso. All right, so it's going to take the Furiton Tempai. We see that Josh has drawn all of the Tumon, so nothing left for Felipe to draw, and we do not get the Sumo from Austin. So we're going to just have Austin and Felipe Tempai, Josh, and Ada no 10.
Austin squeaking into that Tempai right there at the end.
Which is really helpful because that keeps Austin above 30K. A little less meaningful in East 2, especially when the scores are this close. But if you can spend the whole game above 30K, why not? And Felipe having a decent hand here, a pretty marginal hand, is not slowed down by honors, which is good because there's a lot of Pinchan and Kanchan type shapes to fill in.
Yeah, looking to the right, we've got a Dora in hand, and a chance at Ipeco, the same exact Ipeco actually, or Ipeco chance that we saw in the last hand.
It's
And
actually Ishan 10 for Chitoy now.
yeah, Ishan 10 as well. It's always nice that since Chitoy is such an interest. Oh, but with that draw of the 7, I wonder if, do you break up? Yep, break up the 9. So now gonna hopefully see that last white dragon come out at some point. Call it for your Tenpai, and boom, right there.
Yeah, good call. Now waiting on the 4-mon for Hakudora 1. Could call this actually and improve your weight. I personally am a really big fan of calling the 5-mon and then dropping the 3-mon and waiting to win on the 2-5 weight again. The other 5-mon's already been discarded, so you're not going to win on it, but it is pretty tricky. But the 3-mon immediately comes out. The right weight was chosen. The Shavo wins 3,300 for Austin there.
3,300, and now going into East 3 with who's this? I can't read this from the right. Austin, dealer now.
Ooh.
Not a lot. Not a super strong. That's a really good draw pickup. Once again, West's in dealer's hands. Just to point that out. Whatever weird magic is going on there, we've got West in hand. Some disconnected tiles. No real completed shapes yet. But with another draw of the 1s, now you might be looking at. Now you've got 4 pairs, and got to decide pretty quick if you're gonna start breaking some stuff up, or going for something like, and a 5th pair. So looks like this hand is speaking for itself.
Yeah, rewarded for breaking up the 4-5 so shape. I wonder if anyone else at the table will recognize that a Rionman was just thrown away from the hand. It's kind of hard to see, especially at the beginning of the hand when people are doing paying a little bit less attention to Sumogiri and Tadashi. A good draw for Felipe on the left, though. That hand is that hand is Ishan 10. That is not Tenpai, but can be used. According to how, you could kind of switch up what the Pinzu shapes look like. Maybe throw away a 3-pin. Elects to throw away a 1-so, which is
because
fine.
Yeah, because look, you have this 6, 7, 8. You could even drop the 9 pin if you drew the 5 pin and have Tanya.
Maybe the hand but did that? I don't know. I need to stop thinking about it. I feel like that was a step backwards in Shanten. I feel like Felipe is now 2 Shanten, and was Ishanten before. So I think I think that might have been a step backwards. But Josh calling the 2-3-4, looking like building a Sanshoku hand here, does have a 2-3-4 already completed in the Sozu and a 2-4 Kanjan in the Pinzu. So does not need an extra 3-so to maintain the open Sanshoku. So we'll just toss that right back.
Across the table, have a completed shape in Mon, a floating 7, and a pair of 5s, and then finally some floating 5s, I should say, although that 4 is going to help, and a completed 7, 8, 9 shape. So a couple tiles away from Tempai here, but certainly some strong foundational blocks to work and improve on.
Austin choosing to go for Toy Toy. This would be Toy Toy only, has no Dora. The West is not Yakuhai, although if you pull in a Haku, which he does,
Wow.
now you do have a little bit more value to this Toy Toy. Probably throw away the 6-mon. Oh, does not want to. The 6-mon to me seems like kind of the worst Toy Toy shape, but is going to keep it, maybe disguise this hand a little bit if he can. Is now waiting on the 6-mon and the Haku. If he had gotten a Haku first, he could have drawn a Dora 5-mon and then taken a Rhiannon weight.
There it is.
Instead, immediately gets from Felipe. As Nathaniel said earlier, it's like Austin has been unleashed, and, well, he's above 40K now, and it's another dealer repeat.
Another dealer repeat. The discard there of the white at the end, I guess Felipe was really looking to push his hand, because with the Wests out and the suits, it was a pretty risky discard.
It was for sure, especially since you can see that Austin has called the Wests.
Right.
And you've got to be wondering what Austin's Yaku is, and there might be Atazuke, might be Toy Toy, and that makes that Haku definitely look a lot more dangerous. Austin, another beautiful hand here, especially after that 8-so draw. I mean, 5 beautiful blocks. This is a very, very good two Shanten. This is perfect two Shanten, which is a less talked about vocabulary term from Ye Old Ricci Book 1, and there we have perfect Shanten now. So Austin now approaching a very good Pinfu Tenpai.
Yeah, so just not letting that has pushed over 400. We now have to the right, dropped under 30,000, but not by much. So if they could just manage to win this hand, although that might be a little tricky. You've got a couple sets, but not quite enough pairs yet to make those sets more viable. So the hand is still trying to come together, I think, a little bit. What's it want to be?
Well, I mean, that's one of those hands where I feel like if you get the opportunity to turn that into a Tanya, you have an Anko of Dora right now. And there's your pair problem taken care of. So
there it is. It's
very good move, Josh, there. Only one away now from Tenpai. Would like to get to Tenpai on the 2-peen, but, you wouldn't turn down the 1-so or 4-so if it comes. Meanwhile, Ada across the table has an Anko of Chun, and so has opened her hand, is also perfect Ishanten across the way.
We got a call.
Yep, I'm going to go for that Tanyao. Oh, discard. Wait, what?
Then I guess, yeah, maybe they what are we missing?
I don't know. I gotta say, don't fully understand that one.
Yeah, maybe someone in the chat can be kind enough to point out something if we're missing it.
Yeah, we do have now Tenpai.
So there's always a chance of a misclick as well.
Yeah, that does happen. Austin now Tenpai waiting on the 6-so and 9-so. Oh, since the 5-peen became the pair because of that chi, that might have been why there was a slide there. But Austin leaving Tenpai, not wanting to discard the 8-peen. It looks really dangerous to Josh. I mean, it looks like Josh might be going for Chinitsu with his discard. So I can definitely see why Austin would be a little hesitant to discard the 8-peen. We have Tenpai as well for Ada, who wins on the 1-mon from Felipe. That is just one Han, but 1600 is enough to get her above 30K.
And in the dealer run, that really did a lot of favors for Austin.
And now Josh with a chance to make a run while as dealer has a lot of Kanchan shapes. Has about 17 at my first count, so we'll need to fill some of those in to take this hand anywhere.
Yeah, not a lot of nothing completed yet. As you said, but that draw of the 4 is going to help him out. Looks like maybe we've got some speed across the table with the Call of the East. Got a pair of the Green Dragons, a completed set, and easily going on with another draw. 2 sets in Monsu. And so, yep, there's the call. So now I guess it'll be interesting. It's headless right now.
You
Is-
actually, so you would have been Ishanten had you discarded the 7 or 8 so as well. So you either pick a wider Ishanten with more acceptance, that is Yakuhai 2, or Yakuhai 2 Dora 1, or you could discard the 7 so or 8 so, still be Ashanten, Ishanten for Yakuhai 2 Honitsu Dora 1, and then if you get into Tenpai drawing a 2-mon, then you have a chance at Hanuman. But as it is going to take the Mangan Tenpai on a 2-mon. This would be double Yakuhai, double Dora. On a 5-mon, it would be double Yakuhai, Dora 1. So a big change in value should the 2-mon come out of someone's hand.
and there's the possibility it looks like just one might be floating around somewhere. Dealer progressing a little bit, and another very good draw here. So now has the 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then a 7, 8 pairs of a pair of 4s. Now a set of 4s. So a tricky decision here of so now gonna make the 7 their pair, the 7 pin, waiting on a 1 or another 7, and then just needs to fill out that 4, 6, 8 shape in Mon, which there it is with the call is now Tenpai for a Tanyao waiting on that 1, 4, or 7.
Yeah, is now temporarily in Furitan with the 1 pin coming out that he cannot win on. But there's a lot of 4s and 7s left in the wall. So a lot of but now you can take would that have been yes, that would have been Furitan. There's already a 3 so in the discards. Unfortunately, Josh could not take the 3-sided weight that did not have. But this 2-mon,
might deal in.
But you can take Dora Tonki. You can drop the 7 pin, yes.
Yes, and decides to do that for sure.
So now all of the 2-mon are accounted for. Now you can drop a
4.
But if you drop a 4 so, you're Furitan. And now you're Furitan, and you can only win on the 4-mon, 2 of which are already in the discards.
Oh, you're right. I didn't notice that. But and there was that 4.
Although to win on that 4, Josh would have first had to deal into a Mangon for Felipe. We also have Tenpai. No, we don't. I'm misreading things. There's no Tenpais anywhere else. Don't listen to me.
Yeah, it's kind of odd though that across the table, Felipe, who got there kind of so early, but like
the 1 doesn't actually deal in. It is because of both Furitan, and that would not be Tanyao for Josh. Yeah, I really think you got to drop the 3-mon to avoid this pretty nasty Furitan situation. I mean, being able to win on another Dora 2 ups the value of your hand.
Looks like we're probably going to Tenpai payments here.
And indeed we are. So Felipe and Josh, the only people Tenpai, that actually brings
Josh over 30.
above 30K, and it pulled Ada below 30K. So Ada was just barely over that marker, so got dropped into the negatives, and Josh got pulled into the positive. So a good result for Josh, even though the hand was not able to be won. Starting off with a very good hand here, can accept the Dora 3-peen next to that pair of 5-peen and has a pair of Chun, so could easily speed up this hand if he decides he needs to. Oh, we
Got a
do have a
pawn.
pawn on the left. What's Austin calling for there?
It looks like called the ones, maybe going for some kind of Hoinitsu with the east ready and some other honor tiles. Just the only thing uh, they need to drop is that Formon. So looks like we've got a half flush, but potentially, but across the table, um, that's
Chanta
a lot of
Sanshoku?
Chanta. Yeah, so some interesting,
Gee.
lots of honors across the table as well.
Yep. Does call Chi on that 7-8-9, is going to look to make that Chanta Sanshoku.
This east comes out,
Boom.
so boom, there's the call. So now everyone's gonna have to be a little wary about, and there's still Dora acceptance here with the 2-2-4.
Gee.
In a perfect world, they draw Dora and add some additional value to that open half flush.
Ooh, a great pull for Felipe, getting another Haku, so now has all 5 necessary shapes for that Chanta.
Gee.
The 6-0 helping Ada, not quite Tempai yet, but that is Ishanten. And with Austin's Honitsu calls here, I have been just really blown away by how willing the players at this table are to make very early calls when their hand is incredibly far away from Tenpai. Like it is often worked out in their favor, so they have been good calls, it seems. But I have a hard time being as aggressive as I've seen these players be. And now we have a move towards perhaps just a normal hand. The Dora comes into Austin.
Gee.
Another call, which puts them closer across the table, hanging on to that Chun for now. But the dealer really would like to see that Chun come out, but could also very easily keep it as their pair.
Probably takes the 3-mon if it comes out of Austin's hand here. And it does. Ooh, Austin discarding the pair of Hatsu
Interesting.
is probably worried about a
Boom.
Junchan or Chanta to the left. And
Boom.
now we have Tempai, but this is
Ooh.
an interesting Tempai. We are waiting on the 6-peen and the 9-peen, but we can only accept that ween? We can only accept that win on the 9-peen, although now we can switch to a Tonki and Ron anyone we want.
Okay.
So we have a 3-6-9 weight for Josh, who was able to call the tune. We have a 3-peen 5-mon weight for Ada, who is just Shabo here. We have Felipe waiting on the 2-peen Tonki, and then we have for Haku only, and then we have Austin, who had no Tempai at the moment.
Still just a very live table though, which is kind of crazy.
Austin is playing Dodge Everybody Else. Dodge the Pwn Cat, my favorite game. Oh, this 3-mon would deal into dealer. Oh wait, no, it's Furitin. There's a 6-mon at the beginning of Josh's discards. Oh, that hurts.
And that's, the downside, calling might be a way to speed up your hand, but it typically devalues the hand and makes situations like Furitin more common.
Yeah, and we've actually seen a lot of Furitin at this table. That's something you really have to keep track of. Furitin is not always incorrect. You naturally end up in Furitin sometimes, just with sort of bad luck, even when you're playing good efficiency. But it should not be occurring very often. So you really need to be careful of that. Ada here, starting off with a beautiful dealer hand, has a pair of Hatsu, has beautiful shape in the Manzu with that 7 next to the Anko of 8-mon, and then the beautiful skipping.
Look at that.
Draws the 3rd Hatsu. Ada's draws are just really fantastic.
Yeah, draws the Hatsu she needs. Everybody else Uh, got a to the right. Some completed shapes. Or one completed shape and some just strong blocks. 5, 6, 8, 6, 7, 7, 9. So the only completed set's the 1, 2, 3, and then the 5 set draws the 4, which was a great pickup. Makes I'll point it out here Itsu possible.
Oh, Open Con!
Oh, and
Ada
open.
cons the 8-mon, breaking up that nice complex shape, flips the 2-peen as Dora, which helps no one yet, although Josh can accept the 2-peen into a shape on the left.
Interesting. Draw perfect, great reach. Draw from Felipe is now gonna reach. Gonna be waiting on the 2, or sorry, the 6 or 9. So, to and Sumo's it.
And there's
Sumo.
2 indicators. So this is Richi, Pinfu, Ipatsu, Sumo, no Ura, even with the 2 indicators. That's unfortunate. You really wanted to grab one of those, but that helped Felipe out a lot. Is now much closer to everyone else. Even first is not totally out of range for Felipe right now, but we're going to start off by trying to overtake third. Felipe's hand could go towards Honitsu, but has a lot of disconnected honors, and it's hard. I don't like throwing away complete shapes usually for Honitsu, but that pair of 2s might go, especially if one of those dragons ends up getting paired up.
And Dealer gonna go ahead and call. Oh, that wasn't Dealer. I'm sorry.
That was Ada.
Ada. So Ada's gonna call the white dragons to speed it up, but yeah, you were reading ahead for Dealer, so good on you for and look, another Itsu potential for Dealer as well.
Oh wow, got all of those nice Sozu. Just need a 1, 5, and 9.
Yep.
That's fun spacing. Oh, but that Austin might take these Hatsu. Does not. Elects not to.
Not. Which means they're gonna either have to keep them as their pair,
or one of their 7 pairs, perhaps.
Yeah, keep it as a 7 pair for a Chitoitsu, which maybe that is what they're going for.
There are 5 pair. 5. God, I just can't. There are 5 pairs in hand right now for Austin. So Ishanten for Chitoi. Across the table, Josh is putting a really good hand together. That is Ishanten-ish. That is Tenpai-ish. Approximately Tenpai. Dama on the 3-peen. Maybe waiting on a better weight here. No Yaku, so can only win on Sumo.
See what unfortunate. Okay, gonna break up a little bit. Decides to on the right. Ada's gonna pitch her other or a green dragon. The Hatsu.
And that is Austin pitching the Hatsu there. Ditches them both.
Each.
And so, and a reach from across the table. Now,
3 Sumogiris, Richie on the third. And it immediately gets the 3-peen.
Wow.
Enters Tenpai and then discards the 3-peen right after Josh enters Richie. So gets the Ipatsu.
Need to see it. So now Austin Dealer South 3. So this game has been moving very quickly.
And perhaps the biggest loser there might be Felipe. You really wanted to make something of your dealer turn, but watching everyone else just kind of make hands and deal into each other kind of takes the wind out of your sails. Austin doesn't have a great hand as dealer. That 5-peen helps. Still got a few honors to clean out. Does have nice shapes in the Manzu at least.
Oh, that's a nice pickup.
Yeah, the flow is coming to Austin. I made the mistake of saying that this hand was not incredibly close to winning, and it just wanted to prove me otherwise.
Any other hands close? We've got a hand on the left with 2 Dora, which is nice, but otherwise, some a third Dora draw. draws the third Dora. Now could have a pair of Dora and then complete that 1, 2, 3 shape. And just needs the rest of it to come together. Needs a 7 for that edge weight, or that
Could
8's
switch
gonna
things
help.
up here.
Yep,
I mean,
that
this
8
is Ishan 10. It's
Ishan
going to
10.
take the slightly wider Ishan 10. Austin, though, entering Tempai, waiting on the 1-mon, 4-mon, and 7-mon, one of which might come out here. Yes, Ada deals the 7-mon into Austin for
Ugh.
Chun only.
And so Ada has dealt in again, going into south. Well, we stay south 3, so Austin gets to keep his dealership. Now is over 40,000, with a nice little starting hand here with at least strong blocks. Nothing finished yet, but Dora as well.
Yeah, starting out with Dora as dealer is always good. And this hand could easily be called into Tanyao if you feel like you need to speed it up or if you get more value with more Dora. Could also aim for a 2-3-4 Sanshoku. It's going to be Josh who gets a call first, though. Gets the double south and has east in hand as well, although that obviously will not add value to the hand unless a Mon Honitsu is made, which we very well might see here. It looks like that is where this hand is trending.
On the across the table, in Ada's hand, has a completed 6, 7, 8 in Mon. Some is gonna go ahead and drop the 5.
Yeah, had 3 Rionmen, only needs 2. Is Ishanten now had to choose which Rionmen to drop, so chose the 5-6.
Yep. But now has a really great draw there with the 4. Just gonna give some flexibility later on which to drop.
We do
Another
have
call.
a second call from Josh.
So now Josh going for a half flush. Unfortunately, has been seeing a lot of pins since that first discard of the 7.
Felipe on the left now has 4 pairs. Tossed away the 1 pin, which connected to the Dora 2 pin. I wonder if Felipe maybe, with one of the Hatsu already being gone, is committing to a perhaps Chitoi hand. We do have a Richi from Ada waiting on the 1-mon and 4-mon. That is Richi Penfu. On the 4-mon, it would be Richi Penfu Tanyao. So
With the reach, hopefully looking to score some points, get closer to that 30,000 mark.
ooh, this is Tempai for Josh if he discards the Tuso, and he does. Now waiting on the Chun, which have any been discarded? No Chun have been discarded. That is a live Chun.
Wow, yeah, none in hand, none discarded. The same could be said for I don't think any.
Khan! Yes!
Oh,
Khan, now a 3-sided weight. If you discard the Chun, you have a 3, 6, 9, 3-sided pair weight. Flips over the 1-so as the new Dora.
oh, which doesn't help anyone, I believe.
How many 3, 6s, and 9s are out? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. All 12 are out.
Whoa.
This cannot be drawn. Of the 1s and 4s, we see all 4 4s and 1, 2, 3. There's still 1-mon left in the wall. So only Ada can sumo at this point.
Oh. Wow. And then, had they kept the Chun, we now see all Chuns out. So kind of an unfortunate pick.
Oh, and there's the 1-mon.
Gonna come out.
Yeah, and that's going to deal into Ada. Draws the only remaining tile anyone could have and tosses it in.
Puts Ada over 30,000, dropping the the inverse. So now we have someone under 30,000 and Ada was able to get up over 30,000. We are now in the last hand of this game. Really strong opening hand for Josh. Uh really actually fantastic hand.
Yeah,
Uh
Ishan 10 has a Dora.
Ishan 10 with Dora.
If you
And
draw a 6-0 or 7-0, you
oh,
oh,
there
well,
it is.
that's not gonna happen.
Reach is waiting on the 1 or 4. The
Reaching Pinfu Dora 1, you couldn't get Tanyao if you went on the 4-0. I do wonder how much defense is going to be played by Ada on the right. We have seen she has a hand that's fairly far along, and we've seen Ada be very
Sumo.
willing to push.
Oh,
But it
Sumo
doesn't
thing.
matter. The Takame Sumo. So we have
Oh,
Richi Pinfu Sumo, Dora 1, no Ura. But that gets Josh exactly to 30,000. That's exactly what he needed.
this hand starting not as strong, uh, but some blocks here that we can see.
Just
Looks
not good blocks.
like looks like the strongest hand might be to the right. Got a completed, and with that draw, certainly have a kind of deciding which to drop off here. But yeah, so you've got the pair of twos, pair of fives, 6, 7, 8. And then a 5, 6, 4, 5, 8, 8, 3, 4, 5. Look at that, completing another set. So
Now Ishan 10.
now Ishan 10.
Discarding the 5 Mon, setting up a potential Suji trap if the 2 Mon becomes a Shanpon wait later. Does need a little bit of value to get past 30k. So would really prefer to end up with Tanyao Pinfu, perhaps Tanyao Pinfu Sanshoku, maybe just Sanshoku. Needs something.
This game has been a lot closer, more even keel than the first game we saw.
Oh, we now have a Ricci, though, from Felipe. So last place with the Ricci. This is Sanshoku Tanyao Pinfu on a 5-0 win. On a 2-0 win, it would just be Ricci Tanyao Pinfu. But that 5-0 would be absolutely massive. A sumo on the 5-0 would put Felipe in second and potentially would put Felipe definitely in second and potentially leave only Austin above 30k, according to what the Ura situation looks like. We do have the chase now
got
from
a
Ada,
chase.
and that is the Suji Trap Shanpon that Ada was setting up, waiting on the 2-mon or the 8-so. Oh, and
and it comes out.
His hand.
Oh, wow. So Felipe gonna take a little small hit there at the end, meaning Austin's gonna finish first after his fantastic dealer run, dropping under 40,000, but still with a nice 22.5 point bump. Ada with a plus 10.8. Josh, look at that. Plus or minus 0, able to hang on to the 30,000.
And we keep track of tenths, so it's not even like we rounded to the plus minus 0. That is a pure, authentic plus minus 0. It really, really tragic for Felipe, though, who has to take the minus 20 hit because of that. So minus 20 Uma is going to make that last place a minus 33.3, and that is not what Felipe needed.
No. Now, I am, but yeah, that game, like we had mentioned, a little closer in points, not as many big swings. But yeah, just a uh interesting game in that there were a lot of dealings. a lot of people were dealing into each other, and I think that's what makes the close scores so interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it was like they were just yeeting Ricci sticks across the table at each other. They were like, "Here, take my point." Like, just kind of throwing them. I imagine you look at the mahjong table later, and there's just tiles and sticks strewn everywhere. Someone's just laying unconscious on the floor, and you're like, "What happened?" And someone's like, "They dealt into a Hanuman. I don't know what to tell you."
Yeah, but the looks like the standings aren't going to change much for our players after that game. Everyone's still sitting right about where they were. Felipe in playoff range, Austin also going to be in playoffs, and Josh now in the demotion range. With that said, as much as I'd love to see how this last game ends up, uh, I may have to dip out here.
It is pretty late for you, and that is okay. I am all right covering this last game alone, or if someone else ends up. Oh, it looks like Nathaniel can step in.
Oh, perfect. So,
So
and
thank you, Andrew, for your hard work. We very much appreciate you doing like shoving your other obligations to the side so that you could come do this screaming mahjong party with me. It has been absolutely bonkers, and I'm glad
it,
you were here to enjoy it with me.
it was insane, and it's always so much fun streaming with you as well. I like that we can have fun bantering with each other. So, until next time, I hope everyone sticks around for the next game, and of course, the more than capable and well spoken Nathaniel is gonna slide in my place.
Yeah, and Nathaniel should be stepping in here in just a second.
Hello.
Ah, perfect. Thank you. I know you just got here, but I need to step away for just a minute. So if you'll go ahead and introduce yourself to people, they might have forgotten who you are since the game we watched you play earlier.
Oh, you did see that fourth game. Okay, well, I was
Apologies.
yeah, tapping you from the first game of the stream. Unfortunately, I ended up getting a fourth in that game, but it certainly was an interesting one to watch. And these three games from B2A have been just incredible. I know you maybe caught the tail end of that first one, but these last two have just been awesome to watch. It's been really cool to see Austin just having an amazing run in that second game, coming back with a South 4 comeback to grab first place, and even grabbing the second first place here in the third game. And we're right into the fourth for now. And it looks like Ada will be the first dealer again, starting with 4 pairs, potential Chitoy options here. Also could make a normal hand, Ipeco a chance as well. To the right, we've got, well, some awkward shapes, but you've got kind of all the blocks that you need. You've got a door in hand, so with some good draws, this could turn into something. Across the table, there's a chance that 2-3-4 Sanshoku for Austin, and that would include the door 3 pin, so that would be a nice grab. And to the left, we've got, that's a lot of Sozu tiles, and we might see just a normal Pinfu because we've got good shapes in the Pinzo as well. And there's a 5th pair for Ada now. We see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right now, the floating tiles are the 4-mon, 4-pin, and 6-so, which aren't amazing, Chitoy type pair candidates, but there isn't necessarily a guarantee that you're going to aim for Chitoy here. And we'll see if one of those gets swapped out for the East. No, keeps that in hand. And also, if we see the Haku come out, there might be some incentive to call for Toy Toy, even. But wow, that's another Sozu draw for Felipe on the left. As Ada finds that 6th pair, will we see a direct Ricci, or will we wait? Waits. Dama on the 4-mon for now. We'll aim for a better pair. Right now, it's 2,400 points. Yeah, you would like to have that East one, wouldn't you? Okay, 9 is an outer tile, once cut. So that's a better tile to declare Ricci for. So Ricci Chitoy is Ada's plan. We'll see if Josh is willing to push this. Could have taken the Ishanten, instead chooses to discard the relatively safe 1-mon, as that is Suji to the Ricci tile. You can drop a pair of those and sort of mawashi your way, or try to find a better shape. And wow, more Sozu for Felipe. You kind of want to think about Chinitsu here, except for the fact that that would involve dropping the Dora 3-pin. That doesn't seem very good. So instead, we'll take this Riichi. Oh, this is a beautiful weight. Is this 4, 7, 6?
つも
4, 5, 6,
8?
7, 8, I think.
I took the long way around, but we got there.
And that's a Mangon Sumo for Felipe. I came back just in time, huh?
Absolutely. Well, Reach Ipatsu Tsumo Dora, and that is 8,000 points in the bank. Ada taking, unfortunately, the bigger hit for that. I had kind of forgotten that Ada was Riichi that whole time. So we'll move into East 2. And looking at this hand, we've got an Anko of the 1-pin for Josh. Also a couple more pairs, but you really want to be making a normal hand, I think, out of this, unless you just draw more pairs. Unfortunately, not a lot of value here. As we can see, the door is the 9-pin, and there's one of those in the hand to the right that has a pair of Hatsu, and you've got shapes, so perhaps you just call the Hatsu, aim for Hatsudora 1, 2,000 points. Across the table, oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, there's also a Dora in the hand to the left in that completed 7, 8, 9 shape. So Ada might have a little bit easier time getting completed using the Dora than Austin will.
Yeah, and just completed another shape in the Pinzu, and the problem for Ada is you just don't have enough shapes yet. Outside of those 2 completed, you've got just tiles floating around all over the place. So kind of hanging on to these Yakuhai, hoping one of them pairs up, or trying to draw into an ideal Yamen weight in the Sozu, keeping all of the 2, 5, and 8. And across the table, that hand is actually looking, it looks close, but maybe not as close as it looks.
It's also kind of struggling for shapes.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the bonds, you think, can I get an Itsu here? But they're just not the right shapes for that. And the 3, 4, 4, 6 is an overlapping pair of shapes in the Sozu, so it's awkward for Felipe. And we might see, everyone at this table kind of struggling to find Tempai. The 7-mon certainly is a good pickup, though.
Yeah, and this 2-pin could be a helpful pickup for Ada as well. All the Hatsu not getting called by Austin.
We've seen Austin hesitant to call those Yakuhai tiles, the first one especially.
I do wonder if it was so fast. I have such a hard time even clicking buttons that fast. I wonder if calls might be off. We do see the call now on the 6, 7, 8. So if a second Haku gets dropped from someone, we might see it get pawned by Austin.
Really need that Hatsu because we don't even have Sanshoku as an out here.
Felipe's hand looks a little bit better now, though. Pulled in another nice middle Sozu, so you feel like your shapes are a little bit more established.
Josh, kind of working around. This is Ishanten. Perhaps you have a chance at Sananko even once you draw one of either the 2-mon, 9-mon, or 7. So.
Ooh, discards the 3-mon. What do you think the advantage to discarding the 2-mon instead of, say, the 1 or 4 so is?
Honestly, at this point, I just think it's less efficient to discard that way. Although perhaps the 1 so looks extremely safe. It's Genbutsu to the left and across the table. And with that early 2 so, you expect it's not going to deal into the right. So perhaps this is just a safety play. We've reached the middle portion of the second row. People are starting to call. Maybe just hanging on to that 1 so for safety.
Now that does make sense. Ada's hand has taken a pretty huge move towards Itsu. Now only needs a 3-pin really to lock that in place. Although again, still doesn't exactly have the shapes necessary.
Yeah, we need one more shape after that 3-pin gets drawn. And Felipe making the push for Toy Toys. Ishanten actually. The problem is you need a 7-mon, and there's only 1 of those left. Again, here's an opportunity for Josh to maybe get a little bit more efficient by retaining that 8-mon, but instead prefers to keep the safe 1 so.
Now the 3-peen is the winning title for Ada, and the way everything's overlapping, that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 5, 6, 7, 7, 8, 9. So that is going to be a closed Itsu for Ada. Itsu, Dora 1.
Nicely done.
Beautiful. There was only 2 more 3-peen left, I think. 2 had already been discarded.
You're right.
Whew. Who is it? Austin. This is Austin. I'm starting to get commentator silly here. It's been a long day, although it's been a lot of fun. This is a very nice hand that Austin has. Can incorporate the Dora 5mon, has all of these simple shapes, can open for Tanyao if necessary. Could get some sort of 2, 3, 4 Sanshoku, but because that would take away one of the pairs, might be a little less likely. We do have Tenpai already for Ada across the way.
Oh
so
my.
The north and the 6 would be the winning tiles there.
Oh, a con.
Oh,
this-
the east
And
flips the North Dora.
it's got to come out from Josh's hand.
It comes out.
Oh my goodness. I am so glad we got to watch Ada play. You know, she's been at the top of the standings for so long with hands as ridiculous as this. Con yourself into 3 Dora, why don't you?
That is absolutely wild. And all of a sudden, Ada now in first, and Josh taking another big hit is in last, but is not far away. Everything is still pretty tight. Felipe, the dealer now, can't use the 1-peen Dora in this hand, but this hand is going to change form a lot as we kind of slowly get rid of these honors and terminals that aren't quite as useful.
Yeah, and to the right, we've got pretty average hand, so just aiming for Pinfu here. Perhaps there's a chance to even incorporate the Dora 1 pin in across the table. These again look like, well, awkward shapes. This is actually pretty messy because you have all of these lone honor tiles and a bunch of sort of Suji tiles that don't work, like the 2-5 and the 6 in the Manzu and the 6-9 in the Sozi. It's the hand on the left that reaches Tenpai first. Richi Pinfu waiting a Dora 1, waiting on the 2-5 so.
Yeah, those 5-so's currently pretty held up in Ada's hand. The other 5-so is in Felipe's hand, so we'll see how Felipe's hand grows, if Felipe's willing to push. We might see a little bit of safety now. I mean, Felipe is very far away from Tenpai, so it's probably just going to discard honor tiles for a little bit and see what happens. There's only 2 2-so left in the wall for Austin to draw, and there's one of them.
Yeah, the discards so far not really giving much information for Austin. Now other tiles are starting to come out. But that first row was like, okay, it's not upper Pinzu, and it's normal discards before that, so good luck.
Ada just pushing right into this. Had no problem discarding the unsafe 6-mon, no problem discarding the unsafe 1-peen. I mean, you have 2 2-peen in hand, but still, it's Dora. I would have been a lot more hesitant to discard that. But that's why Ada gets these massive wins.
This is really interesting from Ada. You know, this hand is Richi Nomi, assuming you find Tenpai, or Richi Pinfu if you get the right draw, not even Pinfu. So we'll take the 3-so Richi, perhaps just not believing in the early Richi, just saying it can't be that good if it was a 4th discard Richi.
Yeah, and we'll see if that ends up being correct. Ada just kind of went right for it, but I mean, if I don't think an early Richi has that good of a weight, but my weight is also bad, I still don't usually have all that much impetus to push against it.
Yeah, it comes down to a value evaluation for me, and in this case, I'm not really thrilled about fighting with Richi Nomi when I know I've got a bad weight. As it is, has so many of the winning tiles, and actually now Austin's weight is completely dead, as long as everyone holds on to these 2s and 5s.
And Felipe just playing defense here, trying to avoid these 2 Richis. Josh doing the same.
There's 2 3-so left in the wall.
Oh, well, that draw, though, Josh is now Ishanten again. Although that Ishanten would require discarding the 3-so, which I imagine he's going to be unwilling to do.
Well, there is a world where Josh draws 3-so, and finds Tenpai for Sulanko without dealing in.
With one tile left, that is a little bit more difficult.
Yeah, that world has now sailed somewhere else. And we enter Yukioku. It's Ada and Austin who grabbed the 1,500 points.
And dealership will move to Ada, and this has been another fast game so far. We are already through the East round. It is now South 1, Ada's first dealership. These are some very nice shapes. A lot of Rionman already, the 6, 7, 8 completed. None of the Dora South, but you'll forgive this hand that. I mean, you could even get 2, 3, 4 Sanshoku here.
Yeah, 2, 3, 4 Sanshoku, 6, 7, 8 Sanshoku. We might see Kitty just hanging on to that 7. So for a while, just to see what comes up. Oh, it hurts a little bit to drop the second Dora, but your hand was looking so good without it. That is certainly understandable to have seen that as the first discard.
Josh still holding on to that isolated Dora on the right, though. Would you still be considering that Dora as a possibility for Chitoy?
It's a tricky wait for sure. Usually Dora doesn't come out once you've declared Ricci, but if it's the last tile, it's extremely unlikely to be able to use it. So now we see it come out as there's a possibility for Toy Tour, just a normal hand here. And there is the last South, so it was the right choice. Again, painful to have an Anko of Dora in your discards, but across the table, this hand looks very good, actually. 2 tiles away from Tenpai, with one good draw, you will be headless Ishanten, which is certainly extremely wide. And then to the left, we've got, that is Ishanten as well. So a chance for Pingu there. If not, it'll just be a Ricci. You really want the 8 mod, though.
Ada has thrown away the higher Sozu shape, so if there is a Sanshoku, it's probably going to be 1, 2, 3, or 2, 3, 4, especially with that 1 pin discard. Also, not going to be looking for Itsu here.
Oh, that's an upgrade in shape on the left, so Felipe with a perfect Ishanten now.
I love perfect Ishanten. It's so nice.
Isn't it? But I think it was actually the last game where we saw Felipe with a perfect Ishanten for like a row and a half. Unable to find. Oh! Suanko Ishanten.
Oh, do you open if a 7-mon, 8-mon, or Horso comes out?
Oh, that would be. I mean, I think in this position, I might just stay closed, especially after taking a couple big hits recently. I really want to get a Yakuman. Maybe I'll pass the first one. 7, 8, 4 aren't necessarily the easiest tiles, although the upper Monzu do look a little bit cheaper.
There's a Forso.
Does get called.
Does take it.
We still have the Sananko chance, of course, if you were to draw the 7 or 8 yourself.
Well, also Sankansu if you draw the final Forso. Oh no, it's in Felipe's hand. Never mind. I was dreaming a little too big, I guess.
Sankansu would certainly be rare, and we see a Ricci across the table. This is Ricci only waiting on the 4-7 pin.
And there's a 7.
Ooh, Ada, do you want to fight this?
Ada seems to fight almost everything, but is waiting for now. But there's the Apatsumo.
Well, that's a way to get some value. How about an Uda? Not the Uda, but Austin will grab the sticks that were in the middle in addition to the 4,000 point hand, and that is a pretty massive swing. Now Austin grabs second, is only, 1,800 points away from tying first place.
Yes, and now 3 players are above 30K. So now Austin being in second is good. Felipe really would like to grab second to get more UMA instead of just the +0, although staying above 30K is probably the #1 objective. And look at Josh's hand here. This is going to be a little hard to work with, but it looks good.
Yeah, has door acceptance chances, and also, there is a possibility at 5, 6, 7 Sanshoku. To the right, we've got, another reasonable hand here, good shapes. Oh, actually, just looking around the whole table, I'm seeing a lot of good shapes. What do you think about the hand across?
Especially.
Yeah.
I mean, Felipe's Ishanten for a lot of things.
Oh, yeah, you're right. It is a lot of things. Could you have the Ipeco as well? If you con this, you lose the chance for Chitoy. But does con...
Who needs Chitoy when you have a con?
Yeah, time out door 2. The new door is the 8 pin. We see one has been hanging out to the right in Austin's hand, might be less inclined to drop it, but actually just throws it right away, as Austin is now Ishanten.
Yeah, said, this just became dangerous. I think I shall let it go. Ooh, do we see a 1-mon drop, maybe?
No, keeps the shapes the way they are. course, if you hang on to the 1-mon, you can draw the 3 and have a Diamen wait instead of a Shampong wait. But you might prefer the Shampong anyway because that gives you Tanyao. Of course, perhaps you'll just choose the widest wait possible given that there's 2 indicators. And if you go Ricci, you want to have the widest chance of winning for the extra Uda.
Yeah,
there's your 3.
Ada has an interesting chance there. Oh, yeah, you're right. This is Tenpai.
See, do you want the guaranteed Tanyao or do you want the widest weight?
Lychee.
The Shabu looks kind of bad because the 5 pin doesn't look like it'll come out. And for that reason, I think Austin grabs the 3/6 mon weight. Ricci only for now.
And Ada's hand on the left is pretty fascinating. You have that pair of Chun. You could have pushed Honitsu. Wow, just tosses the 3-mon right next to the Ricci tile in the Apatsu turn.
Oh,
And
there it is.
Urasan.
One from the 1-mon, and then the 2 3s that, the one that Ada dropped and the one that was in hand, those became Dora as well. So Austin making the correct choice here, losing a value on the Ricci, but getting it back from the Uda. And it looked like Ada was just thinking about the Honitsu there. There definitely would have been a lot of value in that hand.
Well,
Should
it
have
was a
come
little
together.
bit harder to push for though because the Chun was already you couldn't call it. There were 2 Chun in the discards already,
Oh, is
so
that the case?
it was going to end up being just Honitsu and whatever Dora you're able to pick up.
Well, certainly a big win for Austin, who's now at over 40,000 points with the dealership as well, and also not a nice starting hand. Gives up the chance at Itsu because we're starting to make efficient shapes elsewhere. Has a Dora as well, so we'll be making hopefully Pinfu, but if not, Ichi or maybe outside chance at 2-4 Sanshoku, something along those lines. And to the right, there's a Haku pair, so that is the only positive part about this hand, I think. I'm really not a fan of the 6-8-8-9 shape. It's incredibly awkward unless you draw both 7. So we'll just need to draw better if you're in Felipe's seat. Across the table, that is Ada with 2 Dora now and what looks like Tanyao, Pinfu type shapes, maybe even Ipeco.
Also 4 pairs.
And we'll see how that one turns out. That could go a lot of different directions. On the left, Josh just picked up a great draw of the 7 so, and this is 2 tiles away from Tenpai.
Yeah, and Austin got the second East, so now can open this hand, make it a little bit faster. Oh, and that's another good pickup. Oh, discards the 4-peen.
Interesting.
I would have still been thinking a possible 2-3-4 Sanshoku, although that would involve abandoning either the 9-mon or the East at some point. But
Oh yeah, now dropping the 2 as well. So is this the play for Honitsu?
it's
a
not
bit of a
really
long shot.
necessary from a points perspective.
I mean, I guess you have your blocks, right? You have the 3-4, 6-7-8, 9-9, 2-2-3, East. You got 5 blocks, and the 1-2-4 was your weakest one, perhaps.
Yeah, and if you're planning on calling the East if it comes out, you do need another pair. So this makes sense,
Mm-hmm.
just as a normal hand push.
You know what? I think that last thing you said is actually the important part here. Austin plans to call the East, is assuming the East will come out at any moment and is preparing to make that call. And if you're going to make the 2-3-4 Sanshoku, then you have too many pairs, and you're going to have to drop either the 9-9 or the East. And this gives you perhaps a more direct route to getting to Tenpai. See, what has happened to the right? Still 4 pairs. This hand was the one that was a mess at the start.
And it's
And-
still kind of a mess, honestly. No completed shapes. You're closer to Chitoy than anything else. Now Ada gets Tenpai, calling Ricci, waiting on just the 3-peen. So that would be Ricci Ipeco.
Chi.
Dora 1.
We are getting late, so I guess perhaps just taking losing a second Dora hurts.
Yeah, and
was thinking-
Austin calling Chi to break Ipatsu is now Ishanten.
The alternate route for that hand might have been dropping north, and you'd have the same Tenpai, but you'd have a Mangan.
This East might come out.
Oh,
Yes,
it does.
It was once cut, and that is exactly what Austin needed. That is East Dora 1 on the Atazuke, and that brings Felipe below 30K. So now Austin, really, that's like a 7,000 point win there
Yeah,
if
that's
he is able to keep everybody below 30K.
And in South 3, there certainly is the ability to do that. Also, with the dealership, you could keep punching people down. However, I just want to draw our attention to the hand to the left and observe the 3 Dora 5-mon that exist there.
Yeah, and
And
they're
there's-
already usable.
Exactly. There's a chance to just make a straightforward Tanya with this. Oh, and another Manzu tile. What do you... You're Ishan Tem.
Your Ishan 10, it would be nice to make this a Tanyao
Yes.
so that you can open it, but I mean, you have to take your Ishan 10. You're not going to back away from that. And it's not terribly inefficient either.
No, yeah, dropping the 4 there is just fine. You can still float around here. Of course, if you drop the 3-mon, you're very happy with that. Perfect.
You can also get to Tanyao by drawing either the 4-mon or the 6-mon, actually. So
Yeah, you might expect the 4-mon to be a little bit difficult because that's the Dora indicator, but 6 certainly is a way to do it.
is Austin going to be able to race Josh?
It's tough. I mean, looking at this hand, you've got shapes, but they're awkward. And maybe if you just angle yourself towards calling for Itsu, that'd be an opportunity. But for now, just playing it straight, hoping to pair up one of the Yakuhai tiles.
Well,
as that might be your fastest route to being able to chase this.
And Ada, Ishan 10 for Toy Toy. Will Ada call another open con? She has done several today, and there it is. Can now discard the pair of 9-mon for Toy Toy Honitsu.
This is incredible.
Dora's the 2-peen, which benefits Josh greatly.
Oh my goodness. And Josh, yeah, now has 5 Dora in hand. So Tanyao Dora 5 would be Hanemon. We noted Josh earlier discarded the 1-mon, angling for that Tanyao. Did not pick up the 3-mon. It was the 2-mon pickup that made that decision. But now you can definitely call for your win, or call for Tenpai.
2 2-mon already discarded. So you to incorporate that 2-mon into a Tenpai call. Oh, well, there's Tenpai.
Oh, calls the Ricci. That's aggressive. Going for the Baimon.
Waiting for the 3-mon only. Tanyao, Eiko, Dora 5, Ricci.
There's only one left in the wall, though, as Austin grabs it, and I don't know if Austin's going to want to... Oh, he grabs the third one. Oh, so painful. I can't ever see it leaving Austin's hand.
Oh, well, and look at what Ada just picked up.
Oh, no. What do you do with this? I mean, the 4 is Nakasuji, but the honor tiles are pretty safe. The thing is, you kind of expect other people to drop honor tiles, and it goes the full aggression route.
Well, no Norths have been dropped. The North was live, so I almost wonder if that 4 is safer, especially with Josh being in the North seed.
Oh, and there's the North.
And immediately draws the other one. This East might come out now. It looks a little bit safer than other things. It won't give Josh extra Yaku.
If you're looking at Kitty,
it would be a horrible deal.
You think Ada's folding, dropping Forso like that? But that was actually a Tenpai push. Oh my. And Josh has that gorgeous hand, has no winning tiles available, so it's just, where is the West and where is the East? There's the East!
The East comes out of Josh's hand!
Oh my goodness, so it's going to be Toy Toy Honitsu and the Yakuhai Hatsu. And that's a Mangan for Kitty, who grabs second place, and so unlucky for Josh, who's been in this position, it seems, all game long with great hands, but just not able to get the winning tile.
I mean, oh God, that's just... You're ready for a Baimon, you call the Ricci, you're going all in on it. Oh. And Austin doing a very good job of holding on to that East, not dealing it, discarding safest tile in hand every time, and is able to wait long enough that someone else dealt in. Preserves that first place.
Yeah, there's a reason Austin has one of the lowest dealing rates and held all 3 of Josh's tile and the East, which was... unlikely to be a winning tile, but it was actually Ada's tile there in that situation. So Felipe now, with 28,000 points, wants to, first of all, get over 30,000. Second of all, surpass Ada. And then third, surpass Austin.
I like that very nice laundry list. And has a very good hand for doing it. Is Ishan 10 already? Not Ishan 10, is Tushan 10. Now is Ishan 10.
We always call Ishan 10 the tile before the draw. It's like we force the tile into their hand.
I wish I could do that when I was playing.
You just tell yourself, I'm Ishan 10. And then just materialize that perfect draw into your hand. To the right, we've got what looks like a Pinfu shot, or even Itsu. We'll see if Ada can get the 1 and the 4 mon. And across the table, that's a lot of pairs. 5 of them to be exact, and another pair in the discard pool, as is tradition for a Chi-Toy type hand. But you might just aim for a Toy instead, if that last South comes out.
Yeah, and if the 5 ping comes out first, I think I would definitely go Toy.
Yeah, you expect the South to come out eventually because it's the Dora indicator. It's going to be hard to use. And perhaps Austin is hanging on to that South as a safe tile for now. Really hasn't had much better tiles to keep in his hand.
G.
Oh, calls G. South not yet exiting the hand.
Austin's still a good ways from Tenpai.
Yep, needs 2 more draws
G.
or calls. There's one of them. This is definitely the efficient route. Josh does grab the call.
Which, I mean, this could
Gee.
still become even Toy, or not Toy, Honitsu, but does not. Discards the 3-so, and that does get Austin to Tenpai, waiting on the 4-so and 7-so. That is Tanyao only.
Sumo.
Oh,
And
you just
calls it.
sumo it. So Austin grabbing the first place, Ada with second. Positive score for Ada is nice in this game. Felipe with a negative 7.2 drops a little bit further down, and unfortunately Josh with a negative 37. But I think the story of this series is Austin.
Oh, for sure. Austin was at negative 73, I believe? Something like that before
That
this
was-
started?
Well, that was after a positive result. I will point out that Austin in this
you're
series
right.
has achieved a second place and then 3 firsts in a row.
Are you typing into the calculator to figure
I
out the
am.
total points
I
gained?
am doing it, not doing it in my head. 119.4 was
Oh
the
my
gain in 4
God.
Hanchan for Austin.
119.4 points. That is absurd.
That is incredible. Was down in the negative, below negative 100, negative 120 range in that B3 slot, and now finds himself in the B23 and the top B23 promotion slot, knocking on the door of.
It hasn't even updated yet. It is going to go up 30 more. So Austin is going to be at around plus 30 with a very real chance of getting into the B1, B2 playoff.
Oh, you're right. The still says 15 out of 20, so the second game hasn't even gone in, or the final game hasn't gone in yet. And so not only knocking on the door, but into the B2 slot, perhaps even knocking on the door of the B1 too. If you get another, 4 Hanchan where you're earning 100 points, you could definitely make it into the B1, B2 playoff spot.
And if Austin has won another session like this, or even just a session that is good enough to get him into that playoff, I would not want to be sitting at that table with him because he will be on fire.
Absolutely. Just the streak that he's been on. It's been a long time coming. We've watched Austin play in the inaugural Beta League and in this season as well. And it's just been a bit of unluckiness, I feel like, for Austin, throughout the series, but it's finally coming together. And I don't know if it's a playstyle change or if it's just the tiles are finally coming his way, but it really felt like this was Austin's series and definitely on fire.
Yeah, I do. I do love, compare Christopher's score in 7th to Ada's. All right, so Ada is 555, currently in the sheet. That'll change to 565. But just the scoring ability of Ada, that the only difference between her placements and Christopher's placements is she got a second and Christopher got a last. On average, that should end up being, 30 points?
Yeah, just about.
But here, over double the score after you fact in this 16th game. Over double the score with only 1 second exchanged for 1/4 as far as placement goes. That is absolutely ludicrous. Ada's ability to just like absolutely destroy people with points is wild.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say the second story might be Ada still finishing with 0 fourth places, now going to have a 5, 6, 5, and no fourth scoreline. But that doesn't tell the full story. It's not just that Ada's not getting fourths, that Ada is absolutely dominating in the score category. And we saw before this match started, had a 6.5 thousand average win total. And it's just incredible how these huge hands come together. I mean, we saw it. One of these hands open conning into a Dora 3 Mongon instead of just a one-han hand. And we saw drawing the Anko of one Mon in the second match. And instead of drawing the 3 Mon for Tempai and making that a Mongon instead of just a one-han or two-han hand. And just incredible draws and incredible strategy in building towards these larger hands. Definitely is one of the main reasons why Ada is in first place overall in this division.
To give one more note on this, the best point of comparison is Alec. Alec is in first place in Division B2, Pool B, is the only other player in the American Richie Mahjong League with 0 fourths. So there are only 2 undefeated players in the entire American Richie Mahjong League. Ada, who is leading B2A, and Alec, who is leading B2B. Alec is at 243.6 with 8 firsts, 4 seconds, and 4 thirds. So still doesn't have as many points as Ada, even though he has 3 more firsts and less thirds.
That's just incredible. I mean, you look at the scoreline, you're like, okay, yeah, they're pretty close. But the earning 3 extra first places is automatically giving you plus 45 points in just UMA. Well, I guess that'd be plus 30 if you turn those seconds into first, but still plus 30 points just from the UMA alone. And it could even be more depending on how those first place came into play, but still behind on the scores is just incredible.
Yeah, and as Karak said, there's actually one more player there. The 6th place in B1, Daniel N, also has 0 fourths. I just kind of took a glance at the top of each league because I expected 0 fourths to be like top 3. But Daniel has had a bunch of second and thirds, so does not appear on this list.
Incredible that we've had 3 players make it. We have finished 4 sessions. So 4 sessions, 400, that's 16 games for most of the players at least, without a 4th place. That's incredible. If only I could do that in ladder matches.
If only I could do that literally anywhere. But I mean,
pointing out in chat that he's actually achieved 0.0 twice. That was a funny moment from the third match of that series. Josh finishing with not a positive third, but not a negative third. Pretty rare to be seen, but perhaps Joshy has that Saki ability.
Yeah, reading it perfectly. Just close your eyes and go for plus minus 0. And honestly, in a league, if you got plus minus 0 every single week, you'd be fine.
Yeah, definitely not demoting. And with a decent chance to promote depending on what league you're in. And speaking of promotions, we've got 1 week left for B2 games. And that's going to happen, starts tomorrow actually, the session 5. And so for Ada, who is in first place, currently in B2A, and the other players at this table, they will be playing their final 4 Hanchan to determine whether they will be promoting or perhaps playing in a 6th week playoffs session. And so I'm really excited to see what happens in this final week for B2.
Yeah, it should be the next 2 weeks are going to be a lot of fireworks in B2 especially, and you're going to start to see that same tension building in B1, A2, and A1. And then come week 6, or session 6 rather, Fortnite 6 maybe, if we wanted to be really, really dorky with it, then you're going to have all the playoffs for the Beta B2 League, and then you're going to have the final snaked rank-based sessions for B1, A2, and A1. So Definitely going to be the most exciting month of the ARML yet, I think, without question.
Oh, absolutely. And only you, Tucker, would have thought of Fortnite 6 there, but
In the last 3 days, I have had someone say to me, "Only you would say that," 9 times.
well, I think that's pretty telling of um, your unique thought process towards speech patterns of speech. So I applaud you. You are certainly an interesting character, Tucker. I'm so glad to have you alongside on the commentary.
Yes, it's been a lot of fun, and thank Andrew for doing the first 3 Hanchan today. Had to move his schedule around quite a bit, so we really appreciate him coming on and making sure we got these games cast. Thank you, Nathaniel, for stepping in once Andrew had to leave and doing this last Hanchan with me. It was a lot of fun.
It was.
It's always good to be on stream with you.
And
And
of
then
course,
thank you, Scott, for putting this together. It is always super smooth with Scott at the helm, and we appreciate all that he does to make sure everything works. If you are interested in joining the ARML, make sure that you sign up by June 20th. You can visit AmericanRicci.org if you would like to see the signups and get more information about how everything works. Check out our YouTubes. All of our VODs end up there at tinyurl.com/ARMLYT. Follow us on Twitter if you want to get updates on when we are streaming at American Ricci. And thank you all very much for chatting with us, pointing out whenever I've said something silly, and just generally making this a very fun community to watch Mahjong with. And I am Ennui/Tucker, whatever you want to call me, signing out for the American Ricci Mahjong League. I hope you all have wonderful days.